The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan.
Kratos bleeds red. Brock's skin is blue. The game's combat is fine. A4 just has a skill issue.
Shall we play again?
Player to another.
Dark soul light. Turn on the TV, pick up the controller and play some games with the
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nude Clan, a very special episode of Nude Clan, an Uber review.
Ooh.
And episode number 350.
Yeah. You know how important that number is to us, because that's how many episodes we have, so. Not counting After Dark. Counting After Dark, it's like 460 or some shit. But we are here. We are, some of us are queer, some of us aren't, but we're going to be doing God of War Ragnarok today. Big game, big review, and to get into it, we're going to dive into what we've been playing. First, we're going to sidetrack and not get into it at all, and what have you guys been up to this last 2 weeks, because we took a week off, because we...
Well, I don't know, Twice. What is Zach or Joe, located here and here, respectively? I'm A4. What are you guys...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm
Joe.
Zach. Hi.
Welcome, host.
How's it going?
I didn't know, Zach, that was a great poem. I didn't realize you were such a wordsmith.
I've been laughing about it at work all day, honestly. I was so excited.
I can come up with a poem. I can come up with a poem, too. There once was a man named Zach. Some say he was a wetback. Okay, anyway, so next go to
Don't say that on Twitch.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're already in trouble with Patreon. They sent me an email saying that we need to register as 18 plus adult only content. I'm like,
oh yeah, no, they
you.
do that now. It's weird.
I'm not registering for that, you bitch. We're not 18 plus.
Yeah, we're family friendly.
Have you seen kids? Have you seen kids these days? They talk just like us.
It's true.
Like
kids those days as well. It's not like it's new. My favorite thing is like my sister won't let my nieces like see something like a movie or something. I'm like, have you walked through a middle school recently? Have you just walked through? Just listen. It's like everybody, when they have kids, they just suddenly have amnesia about their own childhood and what was around them. Like, they just suddenly think Schweiss. They suddenly think that, like, there's no exposure to anything because they're controlling all the exposure when they're really not controlling all the exposure.
To be fair, you need that exposure to, like, actually make your brain function, unless you get kids that are homeschooled. They're fucking weird, bro.
Yeah, they are fucking weird.
Chatto is
but also,
Matto.
it's like, oh, they're not hearing those words I heard in the supermarket. It's like, yeah, they are. They're hearing everything. They're saying everything. And then when you confront them about it, they're going to lie, just like I did with my parents.
Chatto is Matto in the chat says, have you walked through a middle school recently, Joe? Because you shouldn't be in there.
That's a good point. Well, I'm saying for the parents, have they walked through the middle school?
Yeah, but the only time they're going to is like during parent-teacher conference. That's completely
it's like
different.
one night out of the year.
Yeah, fair.
And the rest of the time, these 11-year-olds are saying
why do you think? But why do you think like things have suddenly gotten better since you were in school? Like, or do you really not remember?
I feel like nowadays that like the teachers have these kids at like gunpoint, that they're not allowed to say certain things.
No, everybody has the teachers at gunpoint. The teachers can't say anything. It's the opposite.
Thank God for that. Fuck those teachers. That's why we pay them so little. We hate them.
That's true. I do.
And they get half a year off. What a bunch of whiny bitches. 180. They get more days off than they do on. Fuck those
I've
people.
had 2 great teachers in my whole life.
They get they if they ever bitch about pay again, it's like, look, bitch, you get more days off than you work. You do realize how fucking insane that is? How crazy that is?
Shadow is Matto says we need to arm the students, and I agree, but not with weapons that can kill. We need weapons. We need guns that fire off sound bites of obscenities and racial slurs, and that's what we need to arm the kids.
You have to start the caste systems young. If you don't, they grow up with weird ideologies, and they think that everyone's equal, and we're not. They're not. Like A4 is below me for reasons I can't say on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's just how it is.
Is that so? My perfect alabaster skin says differently.
No,
I don't know. He's pretty white too. Zach's pretty white guy.
No, yeah.
He's not passing. That's for damn sure.
I blend in.
Yeah.
Poor A4, the race traitor, as they say in the Pennsylvania area.
It's called cleansing the bloodline, okay? And I'm going to get to it eventually.
The Uden.
Yeah, you're doing
the
a bang up
Uden,
job so far.
As they
I
call
told
them
you
in Germany.
before, it's because my perfect white sperm is too powerful for brittle black eggs. They just blast right through them.
You know what? I just think it's great that you're getting her egg, like the children that are in those eggs, and when your sperm, right? You're blasting them, so it's really you're getting them ready to actually be in middle school in America.
Yes, exactly.
Because they're gonna get shot.
I'm going to have the most powerful child ever. Not just because of my incredibly powerful sperm, but because from birth until about 10 years old, I'm going to lock them in the basement with no knowledge of the outside world or the sun, and they will be so angry at me. They will come out of that basement door with a fury, and they will dominate 4th grade. Let me tell you what.
Interesting. Yeah, what have you been playing, A4?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I modeled my child rearing off of a little game I've been playing this week called God of War Ragnarok, which I basically played a huge chunk of it the past couple days to get it finished for this episode. I was doing a good chunk of the side stuff, but I decided to I kind of just decided to Joe Core near the end so I could get it finished. I've also been playing
Hashtag JoeCore. If you're on Twitter, tag the Nude Clan with hashtag JoeCore. On your games that you just didn't care about, that you just decided that.
Can we start a porn category called Joe Core?
Hey, does anybody else have anything they want to eat while on mic?
Yeah, hang on.
You know, guys, go grab your. Hold on, I got a.
He's got a chick
right.
beer.
Ooh, Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Listen,
you're
fuck
going
you.
hard tonight.
I got home from work like 10 minutes before we started recording, so I won't hear your shit.
Yeah, and to be fair, I was eating my dinner before we started
I
recording.
thought A4 was going to be the gayest one here today, but that Mike's Hard Lemonade proved me wrong.
It doesn't say Mike's Hard Dick in my mouth.
Yeah, it might as well.
It essentially does, yeah.
Yeah.
I like how 3 of us were like, oh, I mean.
It doesn't say it explicitly because it's got to be in a gas station, but yeah, you know.
Anyway, can we start a porn category called Joe Core where it's just Joe jerking off in the back of his car with like a Arnold Schwarzenegger poster on
and like candlelight.
I think it needs to be implied. So all you see is Joe's like legs dangling in the air. He's just like he's like his feet like curling his shit.
Yeah.
His legs behind his head. That was that same episode, I think, right? Where we were talking about that.
It was. And then we'll get someone to like edit like the poster for like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So when it's over, you'll just like zoom in on the poster's face and it'll be like, ding, and then it'll just like go.
Yeah, a little wink.
I've also been playing Ocarina of Time.
Local medium, sorry.
Been playing Ocarina of Time. Just got through the Fire Temple today, so I'll have that beat by next week.
Really?
Probably. Yes, it's not a hard game.
Yeah.
Volvagia kicked my ass last night, and I was like,
I just beat Volvagia today.
Yeah.
Hey, you're saying it wrong. It's Volvagia.
I beat Volva today. I did die during it, but I had a fairy, so I was fine.
Wow, so you had a 3-way with a fairy and your Volvagia.
That makes sense.
And a hammer.
Mm. Yeah, I don't. You say you know the game, and you probably do, but like the N64 version, I gotta say, N64 is not good.
Be careful what you say.
I don't like it. I really don't.
If I didn't have to beat like a bunch of other long games following this, like Grandia and Twilight Princess, I would probably just boot up my Switch and go through the N64 version too by next week.
Yeah, but the Switch,
wrong.
the Switch has a controller that's like made for human hands.
But I have the N64 controller for the Switch, so I can play it accurately.
Or more accurately, human quantity of hands, I would say.
So A4, you came on here before we started recording, and you basically said, "Fuck you, Joe. I beat this guy in one hit," or whatever. I don't remember. And,
one try.
But like 2 weeks ago on this show, you were like, "I could beat that game blindfolded because I've played it so many times." You know how not impressed I am? Oh, and you also played an HD remake on your fucking DS or whatever the fuck. So of course it's playable, unlike the versions that we've had to play.
I might have to get the N64
Children have been beating that for so long.
But I don't care. It doesn't matter. If you played it a million times, if I had to play fucking Gongo Bongo fucking again, then it wouldn't take very long.
Are you sure?
Which one is that? If I gotten there yet?
It's the hands. It's
Shadow Temple.
slapping the fucking
ground.
I
haven't.
And
you were at the Water Temple the other day when you were sending the voice messages. When you're getting beaten by a fence. By the way,
the four times I got royally stuck in that game, to be honest, like the time when I finally made it work, I was like, oh, okay, now that I figured that out, it would be easy to do it again. But, some of those bosses, I think it's Bongo Cuntgo, was the one where it was like a fucking 2-hour walk to get to the boss. So heaven forbid I can't figure out the boss and I have to try it again. It takes a long fucking time to get back to him. So
dude, he's
I
just
don't really
a pair
give
of hands. He's not
for
even like
You're
a
not
full...
that impressive.
Okay. I'm going to have it beat by next week, so...
Congrats! I already beat it! Does that make me impressive? Look, I'm ahead of you!
You almost sounded a little Bostonian for a second. It's like, Jesus Christ, Joe!
Joe just turns into Bill Burr live on the show. He's like,
dude.
Hey, it beats Ocarina of Time. It's like, am I supposed to be fucking impressed by this? What the fuck are you?
I like how he picked up his big purple dildo in one hand, though, and he was like, "That's not impressive!" And I was like, "Whoa, Joe! Whoa!"
I'm not impressed by you beating this extremely easy game for children. Now I'm going to drink this candy.
Mike's hard black cherry. By the way, this was also
an adult flavor.
Also a continuation of our previous conversation where the liquor store was closed, as it was for me when I decided to buy some Mike's Hard lemonade.
You didn't get beer like an adult?
Excuses.
Yeah, if they had Mike's Hard, they definitely have beer.
Here's what the conversation was. My girlfriend was like, "Do you like Heineken?" And I'm like, "No."
Oh,
she's like, "How about
so
Corona?"
good.
And I'm like,
she's like, "Are
no.
you?" Dude,
do you guys not have Yingling over there?
Oh, your girlfriend thinks you're a pussy, dude.
Look, Heineken is really good.
Beer?
I used to really hate
Sometimes
it.
she does.
I used to really hate Heineken, but it's actually pretty good.
It's still gross.
And
then she's like,
beer.
She's like, "What about Corona with lime?" And I'm like, "Oh, so I have to put a lime in it to make it taste good? It can't just taste good on its own?"
But it's good. It's good with a lime.
Yeah.
She's never going to introduce you to her family.
She already did. We got a Mike's Hard lemonade.
And her dad was like, "This guy's a pussy." Kidding, sorry.
Should have come in with Dos Equis. Come on, man.
Dos Equis?
Yes. Also, Truth Seek in the chat says Joe thinks it's impressive when someone reads the Trello, which I did when I beat Ragnarok. Spoilers.
Congratulations.
Which I had Ragnarok on there for some reason twice. So I couldn't delete the one, so I just moved them both to the done column.
Oh, I didn't do my Trello. That reminds me.
I did it for you.
No, fuck you. I'm putting it back so I can do it again. I want to do it.
What is this that we're talking about?
It's some website for weird middle managers to have bureaucratic overreach.
Weird middle managers.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, I've been playing God of War, my wife's Son of War Ragnarok, and Ocarina of Time, otherwise known as the greatest game ever made, and beatable by babies.
Wait, so who's playing Grandia 2?
Me and Jake, apparently, which I guess I should let Jake know. Hey,
you should probably talk to Jake.
Yeah, you're expected to do this.
Too soon.
Like, you're really expected to
Does he even know? Or like,
no, he knows. I don't know if he knows that I expect him again.
It was requested from a listener for Jake to review it with another
Right,
host,
but does
so.
he know that? Because that's
No, he does.
The problem is he can. But the thing is, he can pull an audible right now, and he can play the card that I don't count. And if he does that, then
Yeah, but this is his one chance to count for a moment.
an A4's got to play it
I
twice.
was going to review a 30-hour game by myself because that seems counterproductive. But
Look, I'm not fucking playing it. That's all I know. So I need to
not playing
talk him.
either.
I need to talk him.
I
into
got an
playing
extra
it.
game, so fuck you. I'm not playing it either.
Yeah,
Dumb bitch.
I got too many RPGs and far too many Zeldas to play.
yeah, you're one of the unlucky few that has to play all three.
Yeah.
Anything else you've been playing A4?
No, it's it.
Cool.
No,
Zach?
wait. I did play something, but I'll talk about it when we get to beat.
All right,
'Cause
Zach.
it doesn't really... Yeah.
I played God of War Ragnarok. Nice. I played Ocarina of Time. I am in the Fire Temple right now, and I guess I'll talk about it now because I won't remember the review. I was playing the game, and I finished the Forest Temple, and I got Epona, and I was heading to the Mountain of Death. And my light was off, and there's no exterior lights on the outside of the 3DS. And I pressed the power button, and I turned my power off, and forgot to save. So I lost all that time, which is very fun. But when I booted it up, I have a save from 2014 when I first bought the game on 3DS that I played. And I was like, I wonder where I'm at this save, because like I see like the little forest thing or whatever, and I was like, so I have that sage. So I booted it up. No shit. I was in almost the exact same spot I was in when I pressed the power button. I was a little bit. I was not as far because I had already got Epona, which was nice, but I hadn't talked to Sheik in the Time Temple yet, where I had already I was already to Death Mountain, getting ready to go in to the Goron place. So almost had a tragedy, but that 20 save from 2014 was
I can't believe
pretty great.
I can't believe you forgot to save because you're also playing the 3DS version in which Navi interrupts you every 10 minutes to tell you, "Hey, are you getting tired? You should stop playing."
I know. I just I got really into it, and so I was focusing on everything, and I was like, I'm gonna explore, and then I just didn't think about it because it was 2 in the morning, and I was just tired, and
Joe, you say we're playing the better version, but they're literally in this one they interrupt you every 10 minutes to go you should turn the game off and take a break.
I was doing something last night. What was I doing? I was going to my objective in Ocarina of Time. And Navi, she flew around, and I was like, oh, maybe there's something I whatever. Clicked it, and it was like, if you don't know where to go, you can find a Sheikah Stone. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to the boss.
Yeah.
I'm going to the boss. Shut the fuck up, Atreus. I mean, no, shut up.
That happened to me when I was in the Fire Temple today, in that fire maze room with the walls that appear. And I got all turned around, and I'm like, They made her more annoying in the remake, which is baffling, actually.
Yeah, it was. I was like, dude, shut up, Navi. I know where I'm going. I got the boss key. I'm walking. I'm going to the door.
By 2012 or 2013, whenever that fucking game came out, that was already a meme. Oh yeah, fucking Navi's really annoying.
I love it when she reminds you of something she just reminded you about 2 seconds ago because you walked past a thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. The game's fuck you in your hearts, but don't worry, Navi will remind you every single, it'll... Okay, so what I'm saying is, when you redo a dungeon, let's say you die in the dungeon, you can press save, or you don't press save, doesn't fucking matter anyway, you're gonna have 3 hearts a day, or at the beginning of the dungeon anyway.
I fucking hate that, honestly.
It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, if only hearts were super common to find in jars and enemies all over the place in the game.
They're not as common as
they're not common when you fucking need them to be common. That's for fucking sure.
You mean
and shit and hearts are everywhere. And then when I need them, I'm dragging my fucking body.
Oh, you mean like heal stones? When I can find enough heal stones to heal myself 4 times over in the field, then I get into one fight.
You got your healing things.
Oh, heal stones are everywhere. I couldn't believe
but not in
fights. Because it's a fight, you fucking moron.
Yeah, which would be fine if the enemies didn't kill you in 3 hits.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into A4's skill issue right now.
Heal stones? What are you talking about?
God of War.
Legend of Zelda.
Like, Legend
Oh.
of Zelda.
I was like, there's no heal stones.
Yeah, I just wish there was more rage stones in Ocarina of Time. Honestly, he just doesn't work. In that
Yeah,
world.
there's a lot.
Use Din's
Also-
fire.
So yeah, either way, you're at the beginning of the dungeon. Now, inevitably, it like half the dungeons, you walk in one room and Navi will say something to you like, "Bruh, did you see that? Bruh, did you see that?" And that never goes away. It never fucking goes away. Your hearts, fuck your hearts, but her reminders never go away ever. So yeah, I can see why she's a meme.
Yeah,
Get
no, that's annoying. Honestly, they get worse as they go on. Now, Twilight Princess isn't that bad, but probably the end all be all of like the most annoying Zelda companions is Fi or Fi, however you pronounce it, from Skyward Sword. No,
Thanks,
no.
Joe.
Okay, so Fi from Skyward Sword will not only tell you incredibly obvious shit, she will also tell you when
charge you
you're
money too.
No, not really, but she will tell you when your remote's batteries are low, and she will. And this isn't her, but every time you pick up a rupee of some denomination, like a blue rupee or a red rupee, the first time in your play session, they will tell you how much it is. Now, in Ocarina of Time, it only does it the first time you ever pick one up, or if it's not in like a treasure chest or whatever. But in fucking Skyward Sword, if you play the game, pick up a blue rupee, and it's like, you got a blue rupee, that's 5 rupees. And then you save the game and turn it off, and then load it back up again, and you pick up a blue rupee. It will tell you again every single time you boot that game up. It's fucking obnoxious.
Dude, I think there needs to be a game with like a companion like that, but they need to like meme it to like be annoying, and it's got to tell you. It's got to tell you like shitty Snapple facts, like where it's like, "Hey, look," and you like click on it. It's like P is starting the balls, and then it just like flies away.
So
you're just like,
it's not exactly that, but there's a cheat code in Double Dragon Neon where you can activate a little helper buddy who never shuts the fuck up and follows you around for the rest of the game, but he drops health pickups the whole time. But the whole time he's like, "Go get him!" Like he just sings, like it's supposed to be like 80s annoying mascot, like Snarf kind of thing. But he'll just follow you to the end of the fucking game, and he's basically, I'm assuming, supposed to be also a parody of Navi.
So I've been playing.
Oh, I played one more game, jackass.
Fucking
You just interrupted me. Wow, fuck you. I needed a like a little like palate cleanser. When I was getting sick of Ocarina of Time and Ragnarok, so I started Trials of Mana to piss Joe off to play another game.
Trials of Mana.
That was a
Trials
decent
of
one.
Mana.
Are you playing the remake?
So far, yeah, I got the one on Switch.
Okay, because there's a meme from streamer Vine Sauce where like I guess one of the 6 main characters says Trials of Mana when you go to the title screen, and like this guy 6 times in a row got the one who does the ooh woo voice, so he just kept hearing Trials of Mana like over and over again. He's like, that the chances of this happening this many times in a row is astronomically low.
Yeah, you should have bought
Never.
You should have bought the Mana collection, not the remakes.
Yeah, the remakes look like shit.
Yeah, they're
Honestly.
super gay. Everybody that's played them doesn't like them that we've heard.
That's okay. Well, I haven't played any of them before, so.
Yeah, well, there was the collection that was the remastered Super NES versions, but you know you could play the other ones.
They weren't, but they're not voice acted, right?
No,
they're not.
Yeah, so
They're Super Famicom game. I haven't
heard a lot of
dialogue.
I made my decision.
I haven't heard a lot of bad things about
sucks.
the remake for Seiken Densetsu 3. I did hear that the Secret of Mana remake was dog shit, though.
I don't know. That's the one I heard sucked, but
yeah,
that's a weird game anyway. It's a bizarre game. It's got like a weird prog soundtrack, so I hate it. You know,
that sounds awesome. Sounds like my kind of game.
Yeah.
Anything else, Zach?
That's it. You can go through.
Oh, okay, sweet. I got a huge list. You guys ready for it?
You have a huge list.
Number 1, Conan Exiles, and I'm done. Schweiss, how much have you? What have you played this last 2 weeks?
So I have played Conan Exiles. Amazing game. Awesome. I made my house. Very good rendition of my house, actually, I think.
Is that where you're moving to? You're moving to Exile Lands?
The current house I built. And then when we move up north, I'll build the house that I'll have later. If I get out of this fucking house, because I can't sell it to save my goddamn life right now. Anyway, so I've been playing that. Real estate salesman. I suck at that game. but that's okay. And I also played Legend of Zelda. I am done with the Water Temple. I watched a guide because it's a real cunty game, dude. Like it's not so much that it's confusing, it's that it's like the thing I bitched about on the phone the other day. Like I sent him a message and I was like, this fucking game is like, oh
No,
yeah, there's
hold
a
on.
Switch.
Can we do an impression of what you said? This
Yeah.
Water temple.
Yeah. I think
So I'm trying to hit
what
the
it sounded
Switch,
like.
and the Switch behind him. So
yeah, it's behind a fence and I had to hit through the fence. Like why would I do that? What the fuck? Like, why would I assume the sword goes through that? But whatever.
no. Why would you send us a Facebook voice message holding the phone in your butt cheeks?
I don't know. But I don't. Yeah, I'm. Gotta say, guys, Ocarina of Time. Yeah, not the greatest game of all time. Sorry, and I want my time back. That's what Joe
Hey, you
said
took
the
my
other day.
joke.
Ocarina of
Don't worry,
Time
you'll
and
get to-
time and more time, and I don't know how. I don't know if I'm like. If I just dread it and it feels like it's taking forever, but it feels like this thing is taking forever. Like
It's
I
funny
told
'cause
you, dude,
forever.
my time was like almost 40 hours.
That's
funny 'cause-
insane.
I feel like
Yeah.
I've played it for maybe 7 or 8 hours, and I'm already like more than halfway through the game.
You've
So-
already beat it. You said you could beat this game blindfolded. Guess who's not impressed? By you doing something you've done 1,000 times. I'm not impressed, J4. I'm not impressed.
Spice, you're going to want to save your I want my time back jokes for when you play Majora, because that's the entire point of the game is you keep going back in time.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I just it sucks because like it's supposed to be this amazing game, and I'm just like I don't want to play it, man. I put it off. It feels like I've played it for 1,000,000 hours already. It's like I'm trapped in time, but like it's just a sense of this is taking forever, even if it isn't. But yeah,
It's like being on an edible,
yeah.
I'm noticing a lot of parallels between how you guys feel about Ocarina and how I feel about God of War Ragnarok. That is going to be very interesting with these reviews coming up.
Yeah, greatest game of all time. Fuck you. That's what I say to that. There's no way. It's better than the original Zelda, the only other one I've beaten. Sure.
I don't. I will say my true opinions for the review.
Yeah. I don't want. I'll say this though. I don't want to play it. I don't, but I have to. Anyway, so another thing I played that I did want to play. That's an amazing game. 007 Nightfire, baby. So I cracked out the PS2, and me and Jace and my brother-in-law were playing 007 Nightfire the other day, and it is still fucking awesome. And I don't know if you guys, or Joe, if you remember if the copy we were playing ever had that slow-mo where like the game would glitch and it would like go super slow, like 1 frame a second.
I don't ever remember that.
So Jake and I always called it Neo mode. And Joshua, the brother-in-law, he was launching one of those like homing rockets that you get to control at me, and I had the slow-mo on and I shot it out of the air with a fucking handgun. It was fucking sweet. You got that, you got the odd job hat throws. It's a good time. So I've been playing that and having a lot of fun with that. And also another game that's better than Ocarina of Time, Conan Exiles.
You already said Conan Exile.
Oh yeah, I did say that.
We all
Played
know
it
Conan
again.
Exiles is better than Ocarina of Time. Come on.
Yeah, duh. Like who
That's just a
doesn't?
given.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I look forward to playing that more than anything else, like easily.
More than anything in your life.
More than
Just
doing
like,
anything else, yeah. So
on Monday nights, I get to play Ocarina for an hour and a half.
Shadow is Matto in the chat says, "Come on, man! God of War Ragnarok is leagues beyond Ocarina." Yeah, in terms of like pretentiousness and padding and
Pretentiousness.
bad game design.
A4, you know what? You're right. You would know a lot about that.
Pretentiousness, padding.
yeah.
bad game design.
Yeah, we all know he pats his bras.
Yeah, there's nowhere here in that.
I'm rocking a nice A cup underneath this. Okay. So are you ready to review this Netflix series?
No, that's all I've been playing. But has anyone beaten a game this week?
You know what's dumbass?
All right, what do we got?
Not me.
I have
What you got, Zach?
God of War Ragnarok.
Nice.
Nice.
Afer?
Wouldn't it be funny if I didn't beat it though, and I was like, I actually didn't beat a game this week, and you guys were like, what the fuck? And I'm just laughing, and then I
Joe
just
would
sprung
be
out.
livid, I'm sure, because he thought I wasn't going to beat that last night, and he's like, am I going to have to watch a fucking Resident Evil movie right now? And I'm like, no, I'll finish it.
I was like, if I had to, that was when I had time. It was like,
Yeah.
you need to answer this text immediately.
And I did.
Good job.
A4, did you beat anything?
Oh, I don't know if he said anything. I was waiting
Yeah, I
for him
did.
to get done. Oh, okay, yeah, I beat God of War Ragnarok. And I also beat Wolfenstein 3D because I also needed a change of pace in between the God of War. So QuakeCon was this week, so Steam was having sales, and Wolfenstein 3D was like $1. So
I should have been looking for sales. God damn it.
Nice. Before Wolfenstein sucked. That's good.
You beat anything, Schweiss?
No, I didn't. I have not beaten a game for some time now.
Oh. There's still sales right now for QuakeCon for our listeners who are going to listen to this after.
By the way, fuck you, Zach, for replying to Joe, tagging you in the Facebook chat and when he says ETA and you say, I'm currently on the show.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. That's it. The Nude Clan Hog for the hosts. A4. First place, 20 games beaten. Joe.
The rookie numbers for me.
Joe, second place with 11 games beaten. Zach, third place with 10, and I'm in last with 7.
Ooh. I don't like how
Damn.
close Zach is.
Yeah, well, last week you were tied, so.
For now, I think I'm going to be just... After I beat my last Nude Clan game, which is really Zelda, I'll just be doing nothing. So I'll just be waiting. Okay. Well, God of War Ragnarok is a 2022... 2022. Fuck. I'm too drunk. I'm drunk off these Mike's hard cock in my mouth.
Yeah, we know. We know that drunken look in your eyes when you get that hard cock in your mouth.
We don't even have to do the Mike cock like joke. It's just happening live.
Yeah.
Was released on November 9th, 2022 for both the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
And cinemas.
It was, fuck you, it was the fast-selling first-party game in PlayStation history with 11 million copies sold by, like, 5 months later, so February 2023. It was directed by Eric Williams and Corey Balrog from Lord of the Rings. Produced by Chad Cox. Wow, that is a name.
Chad Cox.
If your last name is Cox, don't name your son something that sounds like Chad Cox. Chad Cox. Lead designer was Jason McDonald. Fucking another franchise. The last franchise was Cox. This one was McDonald's, of course.
Yeah.
What?
Stop serving breakfast all day, by the way.
Is there a fast food
Lead
franchise
programmer?
called Cox?
Lead programmer, no, just everyone's got one, you know. Lead programmer is Josh Hobnobbin. Josh Hobson. Main artist is Raphael Grassetti. I don't like these names, dude. These names are all over the fucking place with these people. What the fuck? Where are these people from?
Why do we care about who the lead programmer
Santa
on this
Monica,
game is,
okay.
besides the fact that I want to go to their house and kick their dick in?
Look, man, I'm just trying to give a real quick rundown of some making of here.
Let me guess the chick who voiced Freya. Her name's Wendy Olive Garden.
The main writers were Matt Sophos and Richard Zangrede Guaubert. The composer
Bear McCreary.
was Bear McCreary. And it's a direct sequel to the 2018 God of War, which is the only game on this show that had 4 reviewers and gave it a perfect score. We haven't even had a perfect score with 2 reviewers. So the fact that we had 4 reviewers at a perfect score, it's pretty incredible. So
it's incredible. It's almost impossible. It's almost like it was overhyped. Some might say
overhyped.
Not at all. A4.
Overhyped,
Not at
you
all.
say, A4.
Smidge. I would
Not
say.
at all. Not at
I
all.
still think of that thing as one of the best games I've ever played.
You are allowed
Yeah, God of
to
War is amazing.
think that.
All right, well, go choke on a fucking like little DS
Mike's Hard
stylus later. will you?
Lemonade.
Anyway,
I should also
Blade-
mention we're getting the spoilers, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So if you haven't, this game is
100%.
fairly.
There's gonna be
This game is
spoilers this
fairly.
episode.
So if you haven't beat it yet and you don't want it spoiled, stop listening now. Go play it. It'll take you a month, but do it.
Anyway, we are here to.
But you'll want to do.
decide-
But you'll want to do all the side quests. So you should do it.
Go ahead, Zach. You got this.
I know because you started talking, but I was just.
We are here
It's like a month-
to decide whether or not it was as good as the first game. And now
Why
we
are you
have
so
a
angry?
review bomb on this show that is here to ensure that it won't be.
It's not a review bomb. Fuck. You have a unbiased third party who will fairly review this game.
Biased. What are you talking about?
I talked to Joe about this the other day, but I think A4 is actually a federal agent trying to radicalize us. That's really what I think he
We
is.
can't let God of War Ragnarok get a 10 out of 10. It's
Dude,
only the most popular game on the most popular console out
Yeah.
right
The
now.
next thing that we'll be doing is telling people to storm the Capitol.
Yeah, because of you.
Oh, Chato says
you'll
A4
be doing it.
tarnish this review. Oh, I'm tarnishing it. Don't worry. It's happening. I got some things to
The
say about
problem
this.
is no, but so I'm sorry, but we have a failsafe, and the failsafe is A4 doesn't count.
Yeah.
So
Excuse
we're
the
playing
fuck
our-
out of me.
playing our
How many?
trap card.
I don't count. Okay, how many games have you beaten this year, Zach?
Welcome, new host, G.
Here he is. He's Mr. Nude Clan.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if we just had flown Jake out to Pennsylvania and talked to A4's wife about it, but only she knew, and then Jake just comes up behind A4 and just beats the shit out of him.
Chato in the chat is saying he's in the Philly area and he will find me.
Oh boy! All right, who wants to start on the story of this baby?
Oh man, the story.
Zach, what is this game about?
It's about.
It's not about
God of
Kratos, I'll
War.
tell you that.
It is too about Kratos, you dumb fuck. So this game it picks up. I think it's a few years in it, or a year after the events
Yeah,
of
it's
the first game. You've in the last game, as you know, you've gone on this adventure to cremate or do the ashes of Kratos' dead wife and Atreus' mom on the highest peak in the realms.
We find out in this game his dead wife is Amber Heard.
No, it's not. It was it's not Amber Heard.
She looks like Amber Heard to me.
No, she doesn't. It's fucking what's her name from Daredevil. Anyway, so if Baldur's dead, Freya's still pissed at the beginning of this and tries to kill you constantly at the beginning.
Oh
of
yeah,
this game.
Freya was helping you in the first game. You kill Baldur, her son,
She's
because
pissed,
he was going to kill
yeah.
her. So
Yeah, but she was gonna let it happen, but she didn't.
yeah, because she's a mom.
You and Atreus are figuring out. Well, you're surviving Fimbulwinter, which. It's 3 years. So this game is 3 years after the original God of War. I apologize. Or God of War 2018. So Fimbulwinter is a 3-year-long winter that's destroyed everything, and there's snow and shit everywhere. There's these raiders that are in the area now. So the area is drastically changed in Midgard, where we're used to. The Lake of Nine is completely frozen over. Jorgenmunder's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, the World Serpent. Also, the other thing is that it is prophesied that after Fimbulwinter, Ragnarok will happen.
Yeah. And so this whole game, its premise is Kratos don't want no shit no more. He does not want to be in Ragnarok. He does not want to start Ragnarok. Atreus is like, but we got shit to do, and he's like, I'm not fucking sending you to war, and I'm not fighting any more gods. And lo and behold, if you beat it on Give Me God of War, the first God of War, you got a spoiler where Thor walks to the house. Like you open the doors, Kratos is like all these lightning strikes are going around, and it pans out, and you see a man move his like in front of the house, and he moves his cape, and he has Mjolnir on his hip.
Well, no, you
And
get
so
that even
this
if you
game-
don't beat Give Me God of War. Cause
I heard you had to beat on one of the hardest ones. Okay,
No,
I beat it on normal.
I
Well, you just have to go back to the house and like hit circle on the bed.
got you. Okay, I didn't know that.
Because they allude to that in this game at certain points. They're like, "Oh, I dreamed about Thor coming to visit us, and then it happened."
Yeah,
So I guess
I
it's
didn't
like
know that. I
canon.
thought it was like a beating thing. So I'm sorry. But
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
Thor comes, and you can create. You have a pretty sweet fucking fight with Kratos with
Thor and
Thor.
Odin try to like talk things
shit.
over. They want to be
Yeah.
diplomatic at first.
But you know that it's not true because Odin's a cunt in this game.
Yeah, as Mimir will tell you.
Many times. Yeah, so it just starts out there. You're trying to survive Fimbulwinter as well as skirt your destiny and not start Ragnarok or have the war and kill the gods. And you make friends along the way. You lose some friends along the way. You regain a friend along the way.
Well, and the thing too is Kratos at the end of the last game finds out with the painting that he is prophesied to die. And then Atreus also finds that out. So they're both basically like trying to stop Kratos from dying. Kratos is like, well, I'm trying not to die, so I don't leave my son. And Atreus is like, I'm trying to save my dad's life. Yeah. So that's definitely a huge part of it. So they're dealing with the Aesir gods in Asgard, as well as trying to stop Kratos from dying, and Freya's chasing after them, and Fimbulwinter and Ragnarok and all that shit. So they're going up against a lot of things.
Yes. I don't know if we wanted to, are we doing spoilers now for this? Are we doing the whole story? Are we just doing a...
I think we kind of have to.
Okay.
We don't have to go into great detail.
We don't have to go into great detail, but
I guess like the first game, you go to tons of different realms. A few new ones in this one, like
Vanaheim, Asgard.
Vanaheim. You go to Svartalheim, which is where the dwarves are from. That's the first one you go to after Midgard is Svartalheim. All sorts of places.
I think you go to like every single realm except for maybe
No,
one.
you
of
do.
them.
No, I think you go to all of them. I think you're right. You go to all 9.
Okay.
Alfheim, Niflheim,
I can't remember because a lot of them were locked off in the first one.
Helheim, Jotunheim, Muspelheim, Svartalheim, Vanaheim. Yeah, you go to all. Well, because then you got
Niflheim.
Yeah, Niflheim. I think that's a Niflheim. And then Asgard. Could you go to Asgard too?
Yeah, technically.
I was missing Midgard. Yeah, you go to all 9 in this game, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. Which is a big step up from the first one, where it's just like, oh, you're not going to Vanaheim. Odin won't allow it. It's like, okay, I guess. I mean, I don't really care because I want 100% this game, and I did. So
How come we didn't
You wanna-
100% Ragnarok, bro?
I didn't have time, but I probably
He's a
will
Ragna
go,
bitch.
I probably will go back and do it
Why would
because
you do
I
that
wanted
to
to.
this game?
I had fun.
Oh. Now he admits it.
I said it before 1,000,000 times. Also, Chato in the chat says, as another realm, Dudekheim is a realm.
Dudekheim.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of little dramas that go on. Some of the characters from the previous game showing up here. There's
One of the main things is that Atreus finds out that he can open up the shrines, the Jotnar shrines from the first game, which were like these wooden chests that have like murals inside them. He can use those as doorways to see giant prophecies about Ragnarok, and he finds out that they need to rescue the former Norse god of war, Tyr, who was imprisoned by Odin, so they spring him out, which leads to other events, like they eventually get back into the good graces of Freya. The Kratos helps Freya break her spell that's binding her to
Yeah, binding her to
Midgard.
Midgard.
So then she becomes an ally.
Tyr is a giant pussy, and he doesn't want to fight no more.
Tyr is a giant pussy creep, and for most of the game, I was really annoyed by him. But there's a perfectly good story reason for that happens way
Honestly,
later.
dude, that story reason, I was really surprised, and I was like, "Oh fuck!"
I was too. That actually caught me off guard because a lot of the stuff, like there would be like scenes where I'm like, and now he's gonna do this, and then he did it, and it's like, okay, whatever. But like, no, again, last chance. Spoilers if you didn't play this game. Tyr being Odin in disguise and sort of like being within all of their ranks the whole time.
He hear ya, and he kills a side character.
He kills Brock, which is way more.
I don't know if I want to play the third God of War after this because the sequel to this game, excuse me, because he was like my favorite character. And
Really?
Brock?
Yeah,
Brock
Brock.
Brock is great.
Okay, so what's fucked up though is with Brock, you find out like why he is the way he is though is because he's already been dead once, and Sindri brought him back. But when you bring someone back the way they did, he doesn't have part of his soul is with him, like his direction. So when he dies again, when Odin kills him, he's gone. He can't even get into like the afterlife. Like he's just fucked.
Yeah, his soul has no direction, so it can't even find.
Also, so with that too, and Sindri becoming a huge cunt and like super shitty.
Yeah,
like I thought there was gonna be some resolution at the end of the game, but there's not. Like he just is still hates you. He still doesn't want anything to do with you.
It's almost like they're setting up Sindri to be a villainous force, kind of like Freya was at the end of the last game. Like maybe if they make.
From what I've heard, they're not. This is the only. These two are the only Norse ones.
Yeah, time to go to Egypt.
Okay, well then that's just bad writing because they do not resolve Sindri's arc at all. He just is angry at them for. He's just angry at needlessly angry at Atreus.
There's quite a few threads.
There might be a. One of the you get some missions after Ragnarok, which is like just like go through the rest of like the Asgardian stuff. That's like spoiler alert, Ragnarok happens. It's what the game's called, and Asgard's destroyed, and like bits of it are falling.
The good guys win.
Yeah. Well, that's a point of view, I guess, because in the game they're the good guys, but in the religion, if you're like it's the gods are the ones that you'd want, So the good guys, but for the game, definitely them.
In this game's mythology, Odin is a giant asshole and kind of deserves everything he gets. So, because he just uses everybody.
I kind of thought there's a whole plot thread where Odin is trying to figure out what comes next for him, when he dies, and so he gets this the mask for Loki, and there's this green rip in time and space, and he's trying to figure it out. I kind of thought they were gonna bring back Athena from God of War, the original games, because when she becomes this ghost thing after she dies in God of War 2.
She claims she ascends or something in God of War 3 or something.
So I was like, oh, maybe that'll bring it. And they didn't, which I think is kind of a missed thing, because it'd have been kind of cool to be oh, there is more shit and it's more interconnected than we thought.
Yeah, that's actually Grumblish in the chat says they wish they would have done more with Athena. Which
she's still there, yeah.
And he's saying also with the Zeus cameo in the first game, which those were my favorite parts of the first game, was when it relates to that original trilogy and sort of
oh man, I really wanted what I really wanted to so you get a third weapon in this game, you get a spear, that's fucking sweet. What I was really hoping for, at least for the Battle for Ragnarok, is that you would have somehow gotten the Blade of Olympus. It would have been so fucking badass to have that, just at the very
Or maybe Mjolnir, so you have a lightning weapon.
Yeah, that'd have been cool too.
That would have been cool too. But, yeah.
Yeah, just like the first game, you're traveling through the realms, you're trying to stop your problems. Lots of side quests along the way, people asking for help, a lot of spirits asking for help.
Like the first one.
Yeah, Vanaheim I spent a lot of time in because I was hunting the dragons in Vanaheim.
Vanaheim and Svartalfheim are probably the two other big open realms that you visit besides I guess Midgard.
Yeah, because the what is it? It's Alfheim isn't as big in this one, which is good because I fucking hated Alfheim in the first one.
It does have
I hate fighting the elves.
which is like semi-open and semi-big.
Yeah,
but, like,
I mean, and it's new because you don't see that in the first one, but it's not as big as Vanaheim, Svartalheim, or Midgard.
No, I thought one of the coolest quests in the game was there. The one where you let the giant
Which
jellyfish go.
No, and that was cool. But I'm saying, like in the first game, I didn't like I didn't like Alfheim. I didn't like fighting those guys. I'm gonna attribute it to that I was playing it on Give Me God of War because the elves fucking cheat in that game and it's bullshit.
I thought the jellyfish quests were all right. Not nearly. I didn't like them nearly as much as the game because after you rescue both of the jellyfish, the game just makes you sit there and watch them fly around in the sky for like 2 fucking minutes, and you can't go anywhere. And I'm just sitting there like,
it's the beauty of nature, A4.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. I've seen jellyfish before.
Yeah. Have you gotten stung by one though?
Yeah, plenty of times.
A4 likes piss, so of course he has.
Oh yeah, are you kidding?
Fuck, connoisseur.
Cover me in piss.
So you play as Atreus in this game as well. Or you get to go and do a little Atreus things.
Get to do the most boring quests in the entire game.
No, not all of them. Because like the Thor stuff's kind of cool. Like it's what I liked about the ones where he was by himself is you saw him become more of a character like without the presence of his dad around him, like making him be a certain way. Whereas he got to make more mistakes himself and learn. But the Anger Boda stuff, I agree, did go on longer than I thought it should have. I would have liked to do different things more because like it's interesting because it's like it's his Jotunheim stuff and it's all that, and you kind of find out there's still giants out there that are hiding and there's still these things around, and Thor didn't actually kill them like he thought he did.
The Anger Boda stuff was cute, but it goes on for way too long, and it's so slowly paced, and I don't care about Thud, whatever her name is, Fat Aloy in Asgard.
Rude.
And honestly,
yeah,
like
the sound she makes when her fat ass sits down. Thud.
Yeah. And you said that Atreus becomes more of a character, but like, I don't care about. I still don't care about him. He's written like a Marvel character. Like he's just got the like self-aware like, oh, why would I say that? Oh, I can't do Mimir's accent. Oh,
that was like, funny.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so my favorite
there were good lines in this game. There were things that made me laugh.
So
the thing that made me laugh the most was when you're playing as Atreus for the first time and you come across one of those wooden chests that Kratos just punches through, and he tries to do it and he just hurts his hand, so he uses a bow instead. That made me laugh. But like, yeah.
The one that I liked, but it's when you're still playing as Kratos, is when you're in Svartalheim and you're going up the little tram and like you get hit by like the troll like throws you off and they're all flying through the air and Atreus just goes fuck, and then him and Mimir look at each other and like, are those really your last words? And they have to go like talk to him about like I laugh. I thought it was really funny. They're just talking to him like why would you say that? Like say something else. He's like, but why? And I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I liked all. I mean, like the dynamic though between Mimir, Kratos, and Atreus was good.
Well, yeah, but that's the dynamic from the first game. Like,
right, but it's still good. Like it's still a good dynamic. Then when you throw, but then you throw Freya in there too, because spoiler alert, because you guys knew, you make amends with Freya. And it's her, Kratos, and Mimir, which is also a good one because it's a different enough dynamic. It is good, A4. There's a different enough dynamic.
Oh yeah, I love when Kratos solves a puzzle and then Freya with her really good acting goes, "Well done," like flatly with no emotion.
It's still a good dynamic. Like there's still a good dynamic between the characters. You're wrong.
Her acting's really bad in this game. I don't like any of the parts of Freya.
I don't think anyone's a bad actor in this game.
Yeah, I would agree with A4. I mean, Joe. I agree with Joe. I thought everyone had a great performance.
I still think Mimir is the best character.
Mimir's great. I really liked Thor in this game too.
All right,
I like Thor a lot.
Thor's great.
Probably because my tummy looks like Thor, so I was like,
you felt represented.
Thor, I did feel represented. It was nice.
That's good.
But you should have felt represented for the drinking side. So like me and you, like high five, you know.
Yeah.
No, he and Joe are already represented by Brock and Sindri, respectively. I did think that the Thor boss fight was a better final. It's not the final boss, but it was a better fight than the final boss fight against Baldur in the first one, which I thought was just really underwhelming. But that's a gameplay thing. But
which is a skill issue.
No, I didn't have a problem with Thor, but
one thing with you talking about that, I did think the second Thor fight was a bit of a letdown because it just wasn't as cool as the first one to me. Because the first time you fight him, it's fucking nuts.
Mhm.
Like, it's so good.
Well, when you're fighting in the Lake of Nine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second one, when you're
I think
fighting during Ragnarok, it's
I
okay.
thought that was
But
a good fight.
I mean, it's all right, but it's nothing compared to the first one. Like, that first fight is the best fight in the game, I would say. It's so good. It's so good.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was good.
No, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying I thought the first one was better.
The way Thor, he was all right. There's like the one scene where they go find him in the fucking bar, and I just thought that was kind of lame.
That was fun. You're beating all the fucking what's their names?
It felt so fucking forced to me. It's just like, oh, good, we gotta have a bar brawl scene in this, and I'm just sitting here like,
you have to
really?
Because it was like Viking culture, bro. Like, you had to throw it in there. You had to have the bar fight because that's what Thor's known for. Thor is known for drinking, fighting, fucking, and killing. Like, that's what he says. So they threw it in there. You had to have it. You had to have it for representation. It was good. It was fun.
It just felt like it was trying to be Uncharted, and I'm like, no, this isn't the right game for that. But
it was fun.
I dug the story of this game. I think when that twist happens and my favorite character is killed, I was feeling a little choked up. I was also feeling it at the end when you're not sure what's going to happen. You think someone's going to die, and like it's like the night before, and it's like Kratos with his son.
Oh yeah,
and just like they're just in the tent together, and they just have a conversation together, and I don't know. I just thought there were moments of great depth of character that you never get in a video game, and it took its time with it often.
Oh yeah, it took its time.
I don't mean long cutscenes, because I think they usually were like 2-3 minutes long. There were like 3 really long cutscenes. There's nothing like I see in Final Fantasy games, for example. Like those could be extensive and worthless oftentimes in some of the Final Fantasy games. But these ones really had some depth and really had some character and really good performances. They definitely leaned, like A4 has said, it's a TV show, it's a movie or whatever, but they lean into the acting and the writing when you could tell
shut
Kratos the fuck up when the game calls for it. I just let you talk for 40 minutes uninterrupted, by the way. So I really appreciated all that stuff. And by the way, that stuff is still going while you're playing the game. Now, we could get into whether or not we think that's a little bit annoying when we hear the guy on his belt talk all day or whatever, or Atreus as like secondary characters, because you're always with the secondary character, but the narrative is always being pulled forward while you're playing the game part of the game, which is still the majority of the game. It's not like this game is a Final Fantasy game where it has like 20 hours of cutscenes and 5 hours of gameplay. It's really not like that. And I think it told the story extremely well. I do think it maybe I started noticing like a pattern with we're going to a place, we're going to do a thing, we're going to get a thing, and we're going to come back. I started noticing that pattern, and then I started noticing, or it was not noticing, but there was a scene where Atreus like learns about the giants, and he's with like a girl in another realm. And that was a little too long. There was a part where I was like, okay, are we going to wrap this section of the game up? Because I really don't care about the giants anymore, and I want to go back to Kratos.
With that,
outside of like those minor quips, though, I absolutely loved the story. Loved it.
I'd agree. I think the Angrboda stuff didn't bother me to the extent it did A4 at least, because
there was no reason to go visit her grandmother.
He wanted to help. Of course there was.
There was no reason to do that.
He's trying to learn how to be a Jotun. He's trying to figure out his mom's shit, dude.
That was
the reason
useless sidetrack.
I know
you wouldn't be curious about that.
Yeah, if you didn't know your shit.
If that was part of it.
Not when I want to play as Kratos.
Yeah.
That's not okay. But anyway, so I don't think for me, like, it's sort of story person, which I enjoyed. And I do think it did go on a little long, but it's nothing compared to The Last of Us 2 crescendoing you and then cutting your balls off at the very end and going, now you're going to play as this person and you're going to start from basic zero. So it just, that to like I don't know, The Last of Us 2 like always put a lot of bad taste in my mouth for that reason. Like the official review, I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's overhyped, but I don't think it's a bad game. But that halt in story was terrible, and I didn't feel that with these side things. I didn't feel like it was a slamming. You're grabbing your brake and you're slamming it up to like stop and traffic. You're not. It served a purpose. And maybe it did go on a little too long, but I was still interested because I was learning about the world and I was learning about that world.
Yeah.
There's children rushing into Caleb's place,
Yeah.
leaving the door open so we could hear everything.
That's right. So, with, I don't know, I think the story is good. I do think it's kind of safe, though, in a lot of ways. Like, there's, it's similar to like a new Star Wars movie where they don't have the balls to kill off a main character, except for Harrison Ford, who hates every movie he's ever been in. They don't have the balls to kind of kill off anybody major, and they did kill Brock, but
I was going to say,
they just barely told me he was
killing
already
off Brock. That was a very ballsy move.
They already told us he was
And I
dead
think-
once, so I was like,
Yeah, but it's still unexpected. I didn't expect them to kill Brock.
I think you are going forward in the game thinking they're going to kill Kratos at the end, and then
Yeah.
Kratos is going to be the new God of War.
No, I didn't
I
think
guess
that.
or like he'll take his place in the series.
If that would have
Almost
happened,
what I was thinking.
I would have been done. But
Think so?
yeah, I would have been pissed. I'd be like, no, sorry.
I would have been done.
Sorry, this is
I mean, I'm kind of done anyway, but
Yeah.
Speaking like with deaths, I also didn't expect Odin to kill Thor.
that was a little nuts.
Well, Thor's supposed to
he's
die,
like-
though, right?
I know he is, but with I had a subversion of expectations because I was like, oh well, like because when you're fighting in Ragnarok and Sif, who hates Atreus the entire time because he killed her sons, is like comes into his rescue almost when Thrud's gonna like kill him during Ragnarok because he's like no, like I didn't. He's like Odin's like throwing these Midgardians in front of us. She's like no, he wouldn't do that. And then Sif is like no, he did. He's this bad person. Like, you need to do this. And I was like, oh, maybe Thor would survive. Like, maybe they would do that. But I
Yeah.
definitely wasn't expecting Odin to do it.
I also love that his bitch wife was like suddenly a good person at the end. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
sorry,
that
you're a
was
giant
so
bitch.
odd.
Sorry.
It was a very...
We should have killed you too.
I
You're
agree.
a piece of shit.
But
No, but I think Odin killing Thor was kind of like that final push that like everyone needed to see. Like, oh yeah, this guy sucks.
Yeah, because honestly, up to that point, everyone was talking smack on him, but I was like, I don't know. I don't think he's that bad. Like,
Yeah, it kind
whatever.
of helps for the player too, where it's like, oh yeah, no, this guy is just like completely evil.
Well,
Yeah,
then-
because
well, then he
you
goes on
got
the monologue.
you got these people telling you that. You got bitch who tried to kill you. You've
Yeah,
got
Mimir,
guy
who
that
hates
never
him.
shuts the fuck up. He's
Smartest
got an
man in the
opinion
world.
on everything. And then you got
His ex-wife. You have Odin's ex-wife.
yeah, Odin's
You're like,
ex-wife
well-
who tried to kill you, and it's like, okay, well, whatever. So I don't know. I didn't feel like he was super evil until the end, pretty much. But
Yeah, I think that was necessary to show that to not just everyone in the story, but the player as well.
His,
Oh yeah, this guy's the real deal. He's not. He's not.
yeah.
redeemable.
I think what I kind of like too is Atreus, like even after everything, and you fight Odin twice essentially, still holds out, and he's like, we can change and we can be better. And he's like, no, I had to do this. I had to do this. I had to kill Thor. I had to do this. I had to kill these people. And it's like, oh, you can't be redeemed. Like,
And he's like, oh, why you
Atreus-
gotta say that?
yeah, he's like, yeah, essentially, he's like, great.
yeah, I do think
the
Atreus
person
destroying the mask
Sorry.
was stupid. I thought that was dumb.
I knew he was gonna do that as soon as
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
like he's gonna fucking break the mask, and then Odin's gonna be like, no.
I was really happy. The one death that I was actually really excited for was Heimdall, because he's a fucking cunt.
Heimdall, yeah, got what he deserved. I was hoping Loki would put on the mask and then turn into a cartoon character and in a yellow zoot suit and start singing La Bamba or whatever the fuck he's singing, Cuban Pete.
Yeah.
My only complaint about the Heimdall death is I really wanted him to blind him. Like, I wanted, like, what he does to Poseidon in God of War 3. Just because Heimdall can see all the realms, I just wanted him to just fucking gouge his eyes out and just.
Where you get to push L3 and R3, so you're
Yeah,
actually
that's what
pushing
I
his
wanted.
fucking
I wanted
eyes.
so fucking bad. That's all I wanted.
And people say these games are better than the original trilogy, man. I got to physically feel myself pushing my fucking thumbs into a god's eye
Joe
sockets.
made the face because Joe only played the first one. He doesn't like it. I love the original
He didn't
trilogy
play
for God
true
of War.
Kino like God of War 3.
I love the God of Wars, but I love these ones. I love God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. I love
These
it.
are
I think
good.
the story's fantastic, and it plays out, and you see the repercussions playing in Kratos through his entire story, and the fact the way he's parenting the way he is, because he doesn't want Atreus to make the same decision or mistakes that he made, but he wants him to be his own person, but he does genuinely want him to be better and to not follow in what every other God of War does. I mean, one of the biggest things is Thor and Kratos in your second fight. While you're fighting, you're beating the shit out of each other. Kratos like, I'm not going to kill you. He's like, we have to be better for our kids. And Thor's like, we are who we are. We're who we are. We're the gods of war. We're destroyers. That's all we are. And it's able to learn and to be better, which is a big theme in this game, is being better, which is something that Kratos says a lot in the first game. He's like, be better. But it's a theme in this game, and it works.
I will say, be better is my favorite fake platitude that is used by people like weirdos who praise nothing but toxic positivity, because it doesn't actually mean anything. It's all relative. I understand what they were going for in this game, but like...
Are you saying morality is relative, A4?
Yeah, but like, be better is like a thing that these kinds of people will say as if that actually means anything
it's a
relative
cunty thing
to
to say.
everyone's morality.
It's a cunty
Be better
thing
than
to
you were
say.
yesterday. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being better than you were yesterday?
No, that's fine.
Because it
But what
doesn't
they really mean by it is be like me. That's what a lot of the people that say that. That's what they mean. This game it's the opposite.
That's not what Kratos means.
Yeah,
he doesn't want these mistakes.
As a saying,
it's kind of like
I guarantee, because Anthony Birch was a writer on this, and he's a weirdo, so I guarantee that's what he meant by if he's the one who put "be better" in the script, or whoever put that in the script. Just trust me, I can tell.
I thought it was kind of fun that Mimir got to almost have sex for a last time before they went to Ragnarok, because what's her name? I can't remember.
I'm just thinking of Sindel from fucking Mortal Kombat.
I know, but it's the Valkyrie. Sigrun, yeah. And she takes him, and he's like, oh, I'd like, a dance. And I'm like, he's got a mouth still, so you can at least have a little bit of fun before you die.
Oh, let me taste that rancid Valkyrie pussy one more time.
Yeah, it's like one of those
cool.
it's like one of those cans of fish up there that they have where you open it up and everyone's like, whoa. I can't remember what those things are called, but it's up there too. It's like a Nordic thing.
It's interesting that, I mean, like, I kind of knew he was from a different one. I don't know if I mentioned the first game, but where Mimir says that he's from a different place as well, because he talks about Kelpies. Because when you go fight to the things, he's like, oh, they have these in my homeland, and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like he's
from like the north or whatever.
He's from Ireland. Like he's from it's sweet. I thought the Ragnarok level was fun. I wish it was a little bit longer, but I really enjoyed like the whole like battle scenes, and
it was a cool like final rush through a bunch of enemies. It definitely felt climactic, to be sure.
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was good. But then, like, I guess the end too is Kratos and Atreus part ways for a bit, because Atreus has to finish his destiny and has to find more giants, and
he's gonna get some of that brown sugar.
A4 is like, yeah, but it was just kind of, I don't know. It was good. It was good to see like that side of Kratos, where like he is like about to cry because like his son, like again, his family's gone. And now that Atreus is dead or gone forever, but his family's gone again, and it's.
You could tell he was about to cry a few times at the end of the game, because they kept like animating his lip to quiver a bunch of times.
He don't cry.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
In the tent, and then like at the end when he's hugging Atreus, and his lips just like.
I didn't see that.
Now, granted, I'm playing it on the PS4, so maybe the graphical fidelity isn't as great as the PS5.
That's actually what it is.
Yeah, you're playing on that.
Sorry, I can't see every skin follicle on Kratos' face as portrayed by whoever face acted him.
It wasn't the skin follicles. It was like the vein on the dick that got me, where I was like, oh. They're really paying attention, Christopher Judd.
Yeah, they should have had a sex mini game. That's the biggest betrayal, I think, in all of these newer God of Wars. all of these two.
Yes,
no
exactly.
sex minigame.
Want to
Like,
bend
what?
Sif over and fuck the fucking braids out of her.
Yeah, or
The anger out of her.
yeah. I mean, Freya, you could have like dicked her down. She's if anyone's ever had a puss face,
least-
it's been Freya. Like,
At least shut her up by putting your dick in her mouth. God, so she's not like every fucking 8 seconds.
yeah, it's funny because you cut out on my end, so it did sound like there
You
was a
cut
dick
out
in
on
your
my end
mouth.
too, so it's just what it sounded like. It was great.
Like, yeah, that's about right.
But Joe, what would you give story on this game?
Gosh, my complaints are minor, but I can't call it perfect.
But they're minor. But what's the age of consent on the God of War Ragnarok?
What is age? You know, what is the number?
Yeah.
What did you say in the fucking Facebook chat the other night where it's like, what's your favorite song for the Middle Ages? And I'm like, buddy, I only listen to legal age music, all right?
Yeah.
I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was really, really damn good. Really solid, really emotionally powerful. Yeah, maybe some things went on a little too long, and you know, that's about it. That's really all I could barely complain about that. It was really good. I don't think it was quite as good as the first game in terms of its story, but I think also like didn't really have like a full ending. Like I felt like I needed more. So that was part of it, but you know, I look forward to what will eventually be the sequel to this game, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I don't think it's a perfect 10. I think the game takes too long. Like, really, it does. Like, when I was playing it, I did a lot of side stuff in between. But then when I was like, okay, let's go beat the game now, it was like, oh, yeah, no, this is like 5 days of game that I have to do here. And I'm like, fuck, it's really long. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't know, man. Like, same thing's been happening with movies. I'm like, does every movie really have to be close to 3 hours long? Like, really? Like, I'm looking to go see the new Indiana Jones movie, and I'm like, it's almost 2.5 hours. Like, what? Why?
Dude, the
Oppenheimer,
new animated,
3 hours? Like, fuck. Like, the
new animated Spider-Man is 2.5 hours, and it's the first part of 2.
It's an animated movie. I'm like, come on. How much of my time are you going to steal
I
from
wanted
me?
to throw my popcorn at the screen after that fucking to be continued at the end of that movie. I was like, fuck you!
Which
right?
one? The Spider-Man?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
know there was going to be a to be continued. I had no idea. I don't fucking read this shit before I watch the movie.
We did, because there was a dude, we went to go in the fucking movie, and this dude, where he takes our tickets, and the dude taking the tickets goes, oh, just so you know, this is a part 1. It's going to end at the worst possible time. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude.
I would,
Dude, I already
because then I wouldn't have been mad when I actually was watching the movie, and it was like, I'm gonna finish this fight, and then it's fucking fuck you. God,
Dude, I knew it was a 2-parter, and I was still disappointed. Joe, would you at least, real quick aside, would you at least agree if they cut out a bunch of that shit in the middle where it's like, look how many obscure Spider-Man things we can reference, and that was killing all these animators, and they just cut a bunch of that shit out? They probably could have given this movie an actual ending, right? Maybe it would have been 3 hours, but at least it would have ended.
Here's the thing, though. With that movie, I thought it was fantastic. And that's why I was mad at the end, because I was on board, and I was like, okay, go kill the bad guy. And then it fucking, like, cut. It just cut right there.
I like that. I think it's just weaker because it's a to-be continued.
I
Anyway.
didn't notice the length on that one at all.
Yeah.
Like, I was in for the movie. Same with Oppenheimer. I didn't notice the length.
I did after the bomb. I was like, okay. Like, it was like, oh, that was really, really good. And then it just slowed again. And it slowed to like, okay.
No, see, when the bomb stopped, I was like, this can't be the whole movie. There's something that doesn't feel complete. You know,
He didn't even become Death Destroyer of Worlds yet.
Yeah. No, I that was a great movie too, but I don't know. I just feel like they're getting real greedy with our time these days. These fucking people.
Dude, even that Haunted Mansion movie was 2 hours, and it's like, does this really
like, fuck, is there never like a 90-minute romp anymore? You can't just get it over with? Like,
dude, I watched The Great Mouse Detective the other night.
I don't know.
I watched The Great Mouse Detective the other night, and that was a brisk 80 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, let's keep doing that.
Like,
Come on.
Oppenheimer cut out 20 minutes, and it's fantastic.
Where would you cut the 20 minutes?
The politics stuff at the end, it's boring.
That's the movie.
The part where he's just sitting there naked or whatever.
Yeah, cut that shit. I don't want to see that.
The part where he's crying, he's like, "Oh my god, the bomb I made killed people. Oh no."
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that one's not a good example, but I just feel like more now than before. It's just like, God, these things are so huge.
Twice. It's more now than before because you brought a baby to the movie theater and it's on your mind.
He slept through the whole thing, man.
I'm childless and I see the same thing. I'll tell you what it is. It is millennials being way too overindulgent, like with God of War Ragnarok. It's the thing that Peter said in the panic room. All these things insist upon themselves. I think the problem with God of War Ragnarok's story is it insists upon itself, Joe. It insists upon itself.
Okay, well, I don't. With the God of War thing, it's mostly like there were just a couple sections where I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. We're gonna get to the place, and especially that one, the section with the girl and the giant stuff. Like, I was interested in what was happening, but I was like, hey, come on.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like FF16 where they literally grind it to a fucking halt.
No, it's not like that.
Like over and over. They're like, oh man, that wasn't the super climactic. All right, now we're going to talk about how this stupid bitch is going to try to build an airship, but then she's going to be like, oh, just kidding. It's going to be used as a weapon of war. I'm just going to throw the plans into the desert, and someone else is going to find them. Like,
I can't wait to play 16.
Anyway,
I can't wait to see.
About movie lengths.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Real quick about movie lengths. I don't know. When I pay a really expensive ticket to the movie, I'm kind of happier when the movie's longer because then I feel like
it depends. It depends for me. It can be like the new Mission Impossible movie. That's also really long. That's almost 3 hours itself. It's like 240 or some shit. That one felt fine.
The length at all.
Yeah, no, that one's exciting. So, you know.
There's a rumor that the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be like almost 3 hours, and I'm like, God, I hope so.
I love long movies, though. I like.
When we have to watch fucking Five Nights at Freddy's.
I love long movies. I like to feel like I went through a fucking experience and got out the other side. Not that it was a piece of entertainment.
You can have a great experience.
My afternoon. I would love to watch like if every movie deserved it. It has to deserve
Yeah, that's the thing.
So
yeah.
But I mean, what do you feel like at the end of a 90-minute thriller that's awesome versus like a 3-hour epic that's awesome?
Probably like I got more out of it because it's denser.
Maybe.
You're wrong, but it's all right.
It's not so much the length. It's just like my time.
I gotta get back to my hentai.
My time is so limited that it's like, fuck, 3
These fucking
hours.
girls aren't going to fuck themselves.
That's
they
what it
probably
is.
will.
When your time is limited, like when I was trying to watch a movie a day, like for that one time, and I only capped up for like 3 months or whatever.
Yeah,
that was painful because like I would be like, okay, 80-minute documentary. I gotta find an 80-minute documentary.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm gonna watch one of these movies on my list. If it's 107 minutes, that's like 17 minutes too long. Like I had that mentality, and so I get it. Like if you're super busy, yeah, then you'll be super concerned about the lengths on things.
But Joe,
like kind of like when I'm trying to beat these fucking games for Nude Clan, and it tells me it's going to be a 27-hour game, and then I played it for 40 hours. Or if I beat a 24-hour game in 8 hours, 40 minutes, that's when I get pissed about length on things.
Yeah,
but
that's
Joe,
true.
Expectation versus reality.
None of these movies are Ocarina of Time length. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they're not short. That's the problem.
None of them are that boring.
And Joe, the thing is, our time is all limited. It doesn't matter whether you're busy or not. We have limited time on this earth. And when I'm sitting here watching this cutscene where it's just Kratos following Amber Heard around as she's putting handprints on trees, and he's going,
prints,
and it's like, and the music starts swelling, and they're like putting their heads on each other. It's like, I know he misses his wife. You don't need to do this. Like, I already know. I played the first game. It's fine.
I thought all that was great. Crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really.
I'm not
gonna lie. I didn't really feel a lot with this game.
You refused to. You closed your heart to it.
I didn't close my heart to it. It didn't grab me because all of this felt artificial. None of these emotions felt real. It felt like
it is fake.
I'm going to tell you. A4, every story is artificial.
Yes, but what I mean
is, if you're
like,
in the wrong mindset, nothing's ever going to work.
No, and I get that, but like it feels artificial in the way that like the movie directors that made this game, it feels like these are the emotional scenes that they felt like they were supposed to have to manipulate the viewer into feeling something, as opposed to actually drawing out the emotion naturally via good storytelling. I just did not feel compelled by a lot of the emotional weight of this story, and I felt that a lot of it was meandering. I just wanted to get back to Kratos kind of figuring out what he had to do to solve the problem. I understand that he loves his son. I understand that he misses his wife. I understand all these things. Like the big emotional gut punches in this game for me were like when Brock gets killed, and there's probably at least another one that I'm not remembering, but like I really did feel like this thing meandered and really overstayed its welcome. It was very professionally made. It was very made like a TV show or a movie when it needed to be. But yeah, I'm sorry. It just didn't grab me nearly as much as even the first one did. I thought there were really good moments in the first one, and it's kind of like what you felt with the difference between this one and the first one. I don't think this one's as good as the first one, story-wise. I think it's a little overcomplicated. I think it gets a little too deep in sort of like having all these other ancillary characters coming together. And I know that's like the point of going to fight Ragnarok, but it's just like when they're escaping in Vanaheim on the flying boat and they're getting attacked by dragons, and the one guy jumps off and attacks the dragons to save them, and the game acts like it's this big sacrifice. Like I even know who that fucking character is.
Yeah,
He's
that's
not even dead. He's not even dead.
I know there's a side quest where you go save him, but I'm just sitting there and it's like, but the game acts like that's a big sacrifice. Like it takes the time and just sits there and lets you like, and tries to steep you in this feeling of like, this guy just sacrificed himself. And I'm like, I don't know who that fucking guy was. I don't know who anyone in the fucking camp was. I'm sorry. Like I didn't stick around and listen to a lot of their dialogue, which seems like the only thing that would have like made you care even remotely about them. But it's just like, I cared more about the guy who turned out to be the boar from the first game, the black guy. That was cool. I'm like, oh shit, it's that guy. I cared more about fucking Fenrir, the giant dog, the wolf that becomes the giant dog in hell.
So my girlfriend told me too. My girlfriend's like, I don't give a fuck about any of these characters but that dog. And I was like, okay.
And I'm sorry, I just do not like Atreus. I don't care about him. I understand that he's a child and he's going to make stupid decisions, but when you have like sections of the game where he just fucking attacks Sindri as a bear and then like runs away, and it's just like, I feel like there's a way to get this level of like trauma out of like a better written scenario, but that, and then there's just like weird shit where it's like, oh, we're the black Angerboda's grandmother is bitching her out, and it's like she's almost crying, and then like literally 3 seconds later, it's like, let's run through the fields and have fun, yeah. And it's like we were like about to cry 3 seconds ago. What the fuck is going on with the tonal shifts and the pacing in this thing? Yeah, I'm sorry. It didn't really grab me too much. I think I'd give it an 8 because it is very like well.
You spent 80% of your time bitching about it. You're gonna give it an 8. Do you see what's wrong about that? I'm kind of
dancing between an 8 and a 7, honestly.
Do you still see what's wrong about that?
Well, because it's like, I did care. It's just that I didn't care about the times the game wanted me to care. The game wanted me to care about all these characters that barely exist in the game, or like, oh, he misses his wife. But it's like, I just want Kratos to punch the bad guy. That's what I care about. I want to get to that part. So, like, I did care. It's just I didn't care about all the gay emotional shit that the game was trying to get me to care about. I wanted to play a God of War game, not fucking Days of Our Lives. Norse edition.
Did everybody get their scores in for story?
No, Choice hasn't yet, or me. Did you, Choice?
No, I gave it a 9.
Oh, yeah, I'm giving it a 10. I fucking loved it. I was looking forward to this fucking game for so long, and I loved the fuck out of this game, regardless of what Bitch 4 says. I fucking loved it.
Just for that, I'm bumping it down to a 7.
I don't care. Do what you want. The story was great. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fucking fun. The side characters were great. Everyone was good, as great. I loved Ragnarok. I liked killing the fuck out of Heimdall. I loved killing the fuck out of Odin.
I liked the Heimdall fight.
It was fun fighting Thor. I had fucking fun. So I'm giving it a 10. I gave it a 10, and that's my score.
I will also say, I said it before, but it really feels like Kratos takes a backseat in this game, as like he's just not the main character, which I guess is the point. But I don't know. It's not what I come to a God of War game for.
Yeah, I can see that. So do you want it a 7 or an 8?
I'm putting it at a 7. I'm sorry.
All right.
what my heart
Gameplay.
says.
So
You
still
wouldn't have
good. Still good. 7.
Good.
You don't have a heart, you fucking lying bitch.
Look. What I wanted to say going into this review was God of
plus,
War
B minus.
Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok is good. Is it as good as Elden Ring? Not in a million years, but I mean, like, it's solid.
All right. God of War solid.
Yeah. All right. So gameplay. What do you guys think about this thing? Obviously, we're going to be
So
comparing
real quick,
it to the
I need to
first
do a
one, right?
disclaimer. A4 had a skill issue in this game, so there's going to be a discrepancy on his side. We just want to get that out there now. Anyway, go.
I had a lot of fun playing this game. I had a lot of fun with the exploration. It's like it took what Ocarina of Time did 20 years ago, and it's doing it for modern day, and with good controls and with you can see everything, and it's great. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the puzzles. I do think that the hints on the puzzles were a little excessive.
Yeah.
The people that have come out criticizing that, I think, are totally right. Sometimes you're just like about to solve something and they'll be like, hey, look at that thing. But then there were like 3 or 4 times where I couldn't solve something and I was like, please, God, say something. I can't see it.
Yeah.
The amount of super obvious shit that this game tells you forcefully, and then there are times where I had puzzles where I'm like, I actually need a hint now, and it's not telling me what. It's because it's like, oh, there's a hole for my spear with the wind coming out, but I can't see it because it's in fucking Helheim, so everything's windy. But yeah.
Yeah, so there was that. The gameplay is solid again. I don't think that I love the gameplay as much as the first game, but I would have to go back to the first game and replay it in order to like really understand what the differences would be. Maybe it's because I had already played the first game; it wasn't new to me, like this experience. But I do love just the fact that the gameplay and the story are like really in sync in this game. That is something that I think elevates the gameplay itself. And then boss fights I thought were fun. I thought the game was fun. Like, it was a fun, good combat system. You could definitely dig into it more than I did. I got kind of in my own rut of like me doing kind of beating everything almost the same way unless I had a guy I was stuck on. But yeah, I had a good time in the gameplay. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. Really fun game.
All right.
But nothing blew me away gameplay wise.
What about you, Zach?
I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first God of War, the 2018 God of War. I enjoyed the new weapons. The spear is fucking rad as the hell. I love playing with the spear.
The spear's
That was
great.
awesome. That became my main weapon after I got it because it was just fucking fun and useful. I didn't have the problems A4. I'm sorry if I'm not trying to clown on you, but like you said, you had certain problems with things, and I did. I mean, I talked to you about this, like when me and yours chat. Like, I didn't have these problems. It was hard for sure, and I did what Schweiss did, and I changed my difficulty down because I needed to beat it fast. And there's a big
story. Yeah.
I did like the medium difficulty, and like honestly, there's a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't as brutal.
Huge.
It wasn't as what?
I said huge difference. Huge.
There is, right? There is. Like, I was getting fucked, and like, but I mean, at the same time, the fights I won felt better on that difficulty because I felt like I earned it. Whereas this one, I got down and I was like, fucking axe to the face, and just I fucked shit up. A lot more health things and the rage stones on that lower difficulty too. But no, I had fun. The weapons were just as good as I remember from the first one, and getting all the new different fucking light attacks, heavy attacks, like your specials, fighting enemies was good. I didn't have a problem. There were some that I thought were a little cheaper than others, but that I had a big issue with fighting the elves in the first game because of their fucking blinding shit.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy I didn't have to fight that many in this one. But yeah, man, give it a 10. Give it a 10 for gameplay. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun.
You know what I'm realizing, Zach? I think
What?
I might have played this one because I've been stuck on games recently a lot. And I think with the last God of War, I was like, fuck it, I play this on like the easy mode or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I played the first one on like the bitch mode. I think I played it on normal.
Yeah.
So maybe that might have made a difference in my gameplay score.
Well, I mean, but still, like, and that's fine. Like, you're gonna play it, right? Like in the first game, I beat the first game and Give Me God of War, and it fucking was hard. And I mean, I'm happy I did it, but I want to go back and play the first one and do it in the regular mode just to enjoy it. I think more than I did.
I mean, this game. Oh, sorry.
No, go continue.
This game literally makes it so that you can beat it however you want. I saw a guy. There's a video with a fucking dude with one hand who's playing this motherfucker. So like you can play this however the fuck you want. You can be blind. You can be partly deaf. You can have one hand and play with your chin. Like fuck, man. You can beat
be a
this.
Woman.
You can beat this any which way.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed playing it. I loved it. I was really excited to keep getting back into it after I put it down, and I just had a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely I give it another 10. I fucking loved this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10 too. I think the gameplay in this was awesome. The side quests I felt like were way more fleshed out than the first game. They felt more impactful. The exploration was just as in depth as last time. There's a lot of stuff to do. The weird RPG style like loot system I enjoyed in this game. It was kind of a weird departure, but I still dug it. I loved the trials in this one. Like there's some there. I know A4 was pissy with a couple of them, but like there's some really cool ones at the end. Like you got to kill like a shitload of dudes and not take damage. It's really brutal.
Oh yeah, that's what stopped me from doing the Muspelheim trials in the first one, because like the first one of the second round of them is like don't take damage, and it's like fuck that. Especially because the last guy you fight in that one is one of those stone ancients that does a fucking beam attack that you can't jump over, because why would a God of War game have a jump button in it? But
you have to dodge it, retard.
Yeah, I did. The dodging doesn't work in this game.
Yeah, so there's some tough ones, and there's one that it was like kill 100 enemies, and that one was brutal because they had those. I called them full retards, the guys that like the berserker dudes that would just come running out and they would just insta kill me, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! I'm in the middle of like cutting a dude into pieces, and then suddenly this fucking tard hole rolls up behind me and just fucking and I'm like, God, it's just so it's just so ludicrous, like.
Ones that, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
The ones that I had the worst problem with on the first difficulty that I was playing on were the not the whites, like those big like the see-through witches with like the antlers and shit. The revenants, fuck them. Dude.
Yeah,
they were so fucking hard.
Yeah, they were tough. I got used to
because they dodge your attacks unless you shoot them with an arrow first.
Right, but I mean, like when I'm playing Give Me God of War, it's almost impossible. Like it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I played on that one until I got to the first Draugr hole, and that hole pounded my hole like for like a good 40 minutes, and I was like, I can't play this game on this difficulty. I have to continue. Like I don't have time for this shit.
After I lowered the difficulty, I went back and beat that guy.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, it was a lot easier. I almost beat him a couple times before, and then I just mopped the floor with that motherfucker. So it is kind of annoying how much easier it is, but I really liked this game. I looked forward to playing it every time. I looked forward to all the side quests. I would take all the time I needed to get everything done. I think I played this thing for like 100 hours. I'm not even very good at it. That's part of the reason why I played it so much, because I kind of suck. But
well, no one's good at it.
I like the weapon
design is bad.
I like the weapon combos. Whatever. I like the added XP boost. Like when you would use a certain move enough times, you would like unlock an extra little boost that you can add to specific moves.
That was one of my favorite parts. Was those skill mods?
Yeah, those are way cool. And I went for like 80% of the game. I went pure strength. And then once I got to the super fights, I was like, this isn't working out. So I did like a lot more runic to like lower my cooldowns and increase the damage from those, and I was fucking schooling people. Like, so it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of customization.
Yeah.
I really loved the major moves that I was using by the end. Like, I'd have the one where I'd send like meteors falling down for the Blades of Chaos, and then I'd have, I think the other one I had was the super spinner move where I could just like keep going.
Spinneroo.
Yeah. And then the for the axe, I think I ended up using the huge heavy swing that he slams down and does like a ton of runic. And then the other one was the you know what? I can't remember what the other. Oh no, it was the one where he just like reaches it up in the air and then it like does a lot of blasts. And so like my stun, I started like working on stun and runic a lot by the end, and it was a total game changer on those fucking super bosses. Because that last bitch is brutal, man. The new Valkyrie Queen, she's a fucking horror.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
dude,
she was gnawing my dick off the whole fucking time, dude. It was brutal.
I think what's cool with that too is there's armor, like there's so many different armor sets in this too, and the armor sets can definitely like be with what your playstyle is. Because there were some that were more with luck, and there were some that are more the runic. I had that one dwarf chick's armor, so I had like high defense and strength, and I just like fucking wrecked shit.
I had that for a bit, and then I ended up switching to the Needle of your Finest Placard or whatever the fuck. Because
cool.
That ups your vitality, but then also like grabbing a dude gives you a health burst.
Oh
yeah,
dude, that's
killing
sick.
guys. I got a health burst from that. I started doing like life leech build also for a while, and that was fun. Because then like because I suck. Every time I'd kill something, I'd get a little boost. Was I crazy,
or was there a lot less hack silver in this game?
I was fucking overflowing with hack silver.
I never ran out.
Yeah, I never ran out. Yeah, I don't know if there was less or more, but I never ran out. I ran out of building materials, but
I ran out of hack silver all the fucking time in this game. And I was doing a decent amount of side stuff in the beginning.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Were you hacking away at barrels? Or was that?
Yeah,
were you too good?
I got the jackpot thing.
Every barrel and every fucking vase that I saw was fair fucking game.
Dude, even when I'm in Helheim with Atreus and I'm just firing arrows at the jars that are on that one ship that you can't get.
I was hoping for a trophy, like a ding. I was like, oh, that'd have been sweet, but they didn't. I was like, oh, fuckers.
I think that much like the first game, when it is gracious enough to let you move your character of your own volition, when it gives you that privilege, the exploration in this game is its best aspect. Much like the first game, I still have problems with the combat. I think that the camera is still zoomed in a little too much, and I just don't think you get enough good defensive options. Mainly my thing with so guarding. There's two kinds of attacks you can't guard. I mean, you can parry the yellow ones, but the red ones you'll take damage from. But
and you gotta dodge.
And you can dodge. But my problem with the parry is, even if I parry a yellow attack, some enemies will have attacks that like go like 3 or 4 swipes.
Yeah.
And parrying doesn't stop the next attacks for me. I don't know if my stats were too low or something, but like I'm like, okay, so guarding does nothing. And then when it comes to dodging, there'll be some times where like enemies will jump up in the air and they'll just like track your motion as you're dodging, and they'll come down and hit you anyway. So it's like, okay, so dodging doesn't do anything either half the time.
The Dark Souls tracking is brutal.
What the actual fuck am I supposed to do defensively here? I can't rely on blocking, and I can't rely on like dodging half the time.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever had someone do another attack after I blocked. I successfully blocked a yellow attack.
It didn't happen all the time, but when it did, it's just like, okay,
yeah, you just get fucked. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You do one, and you're like, oh, cool, and then you just get your ass kicked.
But they keep going, and it's like, shouldn't the parries like in a good game it would stop them? But
yeah, well,
my thing is it didn't like if I started doing an attack, like I had to finish the animation, so I would like take damage if someone wasn't like. If I was actively hitting the person I was fighting, like with my axe, like I was like doing like a roundhouse or whatever, even if I was hitting him and he was like still doing his animation, our animations wouldn't like cut out. Like I would still be taking more damage.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
But that's like something that happened in the original God of Wars too. That's just something that happens with the animation canceling or whatever. I like the shield bash move. That's a good addition. I like the spear. I like the weapon mods thing. I fucking wish this game had like a jump button. I think a lot of Kratos' mobility and combat options are completely fucking nerfed by the fact that you don't have the ability to jump, which really becomes apparent when some enemies have like a shockwave move that goes along the ground, which is a baffling decision to have in a game where you don't have the ability to actually jump.
You can dodge roll that.
Yeah, but like, why not have a jump thing? It doesn't make any fucking.
Why not just press XX?
I did. It doesn't work half the time. I'm telling you. It's the same thing with those like sweeping beams that the fucking what do you call it?
Ancients.
The ancients have.
Yeah.
And it's not like my timing. I'm assuming my timing's not bad because I can dodge attacks like that in a good action game like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry or whatever. So either the timing on this is wonky or it just doesn't work as much as they think it does.
What if A4 found a fucking glitch?
Well, I'm waiting for someone to be like, oh, it's because you were playing it on the PS4. But it's like, these are all the same problems I was having with the first game, which I was playing on my PC, which runs better than a PS5 would. So, I don't know. I really
but not
don't know.
as good as a Switch. I got it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, I know.
I'm just kidding.
I had fun, though. I was going and doing a lot of the side stuff before I really had to like go and like plow the rest of this thing to fucking beat it for this week.
I think the most important thing, though, real quick before you like give a score or anything, is that we've been giving, all of us have equally been giving you a lot of shit, but it is definitely down to like what you honestly think, because our reviews are the only ones people should listen to, because we actively are honest for ourselves in how we rate things.
It's
so
like I said with the. Sorry, it's like I said with the parallels between Ocarina of Time. It's like Joe's having a hell of a time with Ocarina of Time, a game that I breezed through when I was a kid, and you guys were having an easy time with this game, even though I'm getting my ass whooped all the time.
Oh,
so
I got trashed.
like, yeah, I don't know.
I got trashed to A4.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I got trashed in ways where like it doesn't feel like it's my fault. Like where like three guys would just like start hit stunning me all in a row because they just. Like I said with the first game, if you're fighting more than like two dudes, it becomes like a giant pain in the ass. Especially because if any of them get behind you, you can't see them. You have the little arrow that shows like where indicates where enemies are when they're about to attack. But like I'm not paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to the enemies in front of me, and this could easily be solved by just panning the camera out a little bit. But no, the game's got to be cinematic. It's a lot of the same problems I had with the first game, but it does feel like a slight evolution to the first game. Grumblush was saying in the chat that this kind of feels like an expansion pack to that game's combat, and I would agree that it doesn't feel like a true sequel in terms of like the combat stuff. Like it feels like they just sort of started at where you were at the end of the first one combat wise, and just sort of added on to it a little bit. It's hard to describe what I'm trying to say. Like it doesn't sound like it doesn't feel like a true sequel in terms of the combat. It doesn't feel like the jump between say God of War 1 and God of War 2 or 3, but it's decent, like in terms of what they add on. Like I said, I like a lot of the new features. I like that shield dash, and yeah, for what it's worth, as annoyed as I was getting with the combat in this game, I do want to go and try to 100% complete it, because I 100% completed the first one, except for the second round of Muspelheim trials, but those didn't count towards 100% completion for some fucking reason in that one. I think they do in this.
Yeah, they do.
And I was having fun exploring the worlds and getting new upgrades and stuff. It does have that very kind of Zelda feel of like, I finally found another thing that lets me upgrade my amulet, or I finally found like the thing that lets me complete this quest line, and that's going to get me some other stuff. So it is well made in that regard. Yeah. I think I'm with Joe on this. I would give it an 8. I like it, but it's a lot of the same problems I have with the first game combat wise. I think the exploration is like top tier, but it's just dragged down by the fact that, and I said this about the original God of War trilogy too, I don't think the combat systems in this game are as good as the developers think it is, which is what I said about God of War 1 when I was doing those fucking Titan trials or whatever the fuck at the end.
Hey, boy, you just convinced me. I'm going to give it a 9 instead of an 8.
Okay. All right, I'm giving it an 8 still.
No, I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so it's been a couple months since I beat this game. But now I remember that I was looking forward to playing this every single day.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get on the God of War. And it took me like no time to beat this game, because it wasn't like pulling fingernails like a certain time-sinking ocarina.
Yeah, like a certain...
I I wouldn't say I was looking forward to playing this, but when I would play it, I would go actively try to seek out every little nook and cranny when I could to try and find new stuff. So it works. Like,
Yeah, did you pull your little instrument? You just mad you didn't get to pull your little gay instrument out of your ass, you little fuck?
If this game had like a song system like Ocarina of Time, I would probably give it a 9 because that would make it way better.
Oh yeah, you know what game
Kratos
did
brings
have
his
one?
little lyre out and he's like playing.
Yeah,
the lyre.
his
The
lute.
liar, you
the liars.
Philistine.
No, you know what
Oh,
game did
okay.
have a music system?
I didn't go to art school, bitch. Okay.
Last of Us 2.
Yeah, and that game
Remember that?
sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and especially the end when she has no fingers and she's like, trying to.
Or
play
no,
the
you said
guitar.
it did have a music system?
Yeah, no,
It
there's a
did.
guitar, yeah.
You can play the guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it doesn't do anything. Like I can't play the song of getting rid of like dudes and then Abby just disintegrates like she just got Thanos snapped.
Yeah, you can't play the...
Sorry, going back to the exploration
Infinity Song.
real quick, and the side quests. I thought it was interesting, and not in a bad way, but like a good way, that some side missions were linked to other side missions. Like the fact that I was like, I want to like try to fight the dragon, and you had to fight the dragons in Vanaheim. At least the ones that, if you fight the first one where they do their sacrifices and stuff, you go and save them because you kill the dragon or whatever. But to fight the rest of them, you have to find tracks and follow these tracks to that's gonna start a side mission. And then you just cut off right before that, and you hear Mimir's like, oh, this place used to have a river through it. That's interesting. I wonder what happened. And you go into the jungle, then you find the river, and you do this river side quest, and that river side quest opens up a food chain side quest with the Dreki, and then that one opens up so you can fight more of the dragons and kill the rest of them. But that also, if you go like not to that area, you'll find these tracks to fight like the Draco thing. Like a lot of the side missions were like connected in a way that made it fun and easier to get to, I thought, than some other games.
It's
where
a
you're
trail
like,
of breadcrumbs,
oh,
honestly.
yeah, and like, and honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I thought it was nice to be like, oh, hey, I just did this. Oh, fuck, I can do this now. Oh, I'm gonna fucking find these dragons. That's fucking. And my thinking, like, oh, going through this, and I'm like, oh, I really should beat this game because we have to review it on Monday. And I'm like, oh, there's a giant fucking dragon. I'm gonna go fight that fucker. And like, it did a good job with the side quests in this, like a really, really good.
Well, there's a shitload of stuff to do, like even way more than the first one. Like you got you got like realm tears like that one, but then you also have the lindworms or whatever that are also in realm tears, and then later you get like get the stags back for Ratatoskr.
Well, some of the realm tears too just give you shit.
Oh.
Like you just punch through it.
They did in the first game.
Did you guys do the whole chime thing with Ratatoskr, where you keep hitting the chime over and over again?
No, but I saw
do
him have
that?
it.
He gets like more and more pissed. He's like, "Oh, you really like the sound of those chimes," and then eventually he's like, "Stop ringing the chimes!" He like screams at you. He's like, "Oh, sorry. I lost control there for a second." But yeah, I did it for like 5 minutes straight, and then he like screamed at me.
Well, I will give the game credit. Like as cinematic as it is, they do think of a lot of like little details where like they basically think of like every contingency for like if you do different things. Like if you just walk away from a character while they're talking, to be like, "Oh, all right, see ya." Or like when I was standing in front of Ratatoskr first, and I was waiting to see if he was going to say more things. He's just like, "Do you not understand what happens at the end of a conversation? Like you can go now."
Yeah,
I had him say that to me too.
Yeah.
So like that's with the stuff of that dialogue stuff is really good. I guess that's more of a story thing, but
yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of that because.
Although I will say, and maybe it applies to Sound of Music, I lost count of how many times I audibly told this game to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
When like a character says something, I'm like, God, shut the fuck up. I don't care.
So speaking of Sound of Music, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I love the score of this game. It's a great Pirates of the Caribbean ripoff soundtrack. I love how epic it is. I love the emotion behind it. I thought it was really fantastic, the music. Also on the sound side and on the acting side in general, the acting that they put behind this, the performances behind this, absolutely fantastic. I don't have a single problem with it. I thought it was wonderful. 10 out of 10 on sound and music.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. Dude who played Odin was really good. You could tell he was in real movies.
Richard Schiff. Yeah.
Yeah, unlike poor unlike Kratos, he's really good too though. Kratos is really good, but yeah, no, it was awesome. Everything was really good. I love the soundtrack. It's not. I don't think the soundtrack is as good as the old games because it's not as bombastic to me, and it's a little more muted. But I still really like it. They all have amazing soundtracks. That's one of the great things about the God of Wars. The voice acting was amazing yet again in this one. I didn't have a single problem with it. I could say that I got annoyed by people not shutting the fuck up, but I honestly think that's more of a gameplay thing, which is a weird place to put it. But it's like, I don't know if it really counts.
Yeah, I would agree with you because like.
No,
Yeah,
that would be
because-
gameplay. I think
yeah.
it's part of the gameplay. Is like them giving you hints.
The hints.
Yeah, and like just never shutting up. That is a thing in this game. It's like, don't you guys ever just, when you're hanging out, you're just quiet? Like is no one in this group like quiet ever?
Well, Kratos is, and they comment on it many times.
Yeah, that's true. Kratos is like how most people are, I feel like, and these guys are like obnoxious and kind of like marbly is what A4 was going for earlier, saying they're kind of marble.
I think like
characters.
the thing is like that's how Amir is he doesn't shut up. Like
Yeah.
he thinks his opinion's the best. He's the smartest man alive, like, and all this other stuff. So like it's his thing. Like
Keep trashing on him while he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, no, he's kind of right though about the Marvel. It's like no one can shut up in the Marvel movie. It's like you got to be constant, like, oh, da 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 da. Everyone's got a little one-liner, and it's like this game's kind of the same way. And it does get annoying, but I wouldn't blame the performances or anything for that. And honestly, it's not enough to bring like gameplay score down because this game is a lot of fun to play. I just kind of wish the game would let me play it more instead of it being like, oh,
yeah, that is definitely one of my biggest complaints of this game.
If you rub your belly and pat your head and then throw the ice axe at this, you'll get through. And it's like, oh, thanks, fuckhead.
Thanks, fuckhead.
And like it just wouldn't, and like the whole, oh my god, and then I die. And it's like the guy would like teabag me and like say something, and then Atreus would say, "Father," and then Mimir would say something, and I'm like, oh, just shut up, like shut. Yeah, off your back. No. Father.
And then Freya goes, "We're killing you, Kratos."
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like a problem with the first game too. I remember dying a lot, like, and just I need you here. And it's like, I wish I could, but the combat sucks. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah.
Did you talk about Mimir saying "You're on fire, Kratos"? Like, yeah, I know.
You
Like,
probably already knew that.
Yeah.
well, Atreus says that line, but it's just like,
No.
okay, so
no,
the game
Mimir
knows.
said it. Mimir said it too.
No, every time I got lit on fire, Mimir's like, "You're on fire, Kratos. It will pass." And I'm like, "You've said that every single time I've been set on fire." I know.
Yeah.
Or like when you get frozen and they're like, "Brr, that looks cold," and I'm like, I'm moving half as fast as I normally would, which is not fast anyway. So, thanks, guys.
Well, then you got you're covered in, what is it? It's like you're covered in Bifrost, and I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I am aware of what is going on. I will echo the other two votes and give Sound of Music a 10 as well. I love the voice acting. I thought it was great. The emotion and people, like the emotions that the game does convey with characters is in there, and you can tell that like they gave like a good performance. Sound is great, music's great, the sound of like the wilds is great.
Yeah.
They really like went all out with like creatures and like Vanaheim like legit like it sounds like a jungle. Like you walk through and if I played with headphones for a little bit towards the end, like doing side quests in Vanaheim, and it's like you can hear like the distant echoes and like it does sound like there's things around you, and I just enjoyed it. It's the same thing I liked with Resident Evil, where it's like the background noises, and you can tell when they actually like go through and like they think of these things. Like, oh, if I do this, yes,
Yeah.
I dig the fuck out of that for games, and
That's a new thing too.
I love it.
Like,
I fucking love it. So yeah, like I said, 10. I'll give that a 10.
Yeah, it's a new development,
I'm-
I feel, but it's a great one though. Like it just feels so alive. It's crazy. Anyway, sorry. April.
I'm gonna be the odd one out, I guess, because the score's good. I don't really remember a lot of it. I think it's because it's a lot more subdued and played down. Like I still remember the main leitmotif of the original God of War games, because that soundtrack is way more like bombastic and it sort of has like more, I guess, a different character to it than this score does. And like I said, it's not bad. I just don't really remember any of it. It's just kind of your generic, like, mystical, ancient sounding, like, at least for the one song. It works for what it is. It just doesn't really blow me away. And the voice acting is, despite my complaints about all the characters talking all the time, the voice acting for the most part is very good. I still think Freya's voice is fucking awful, and I will never stop hearing her yelling enemy on the insert direction here. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to give it an 8 just because the music didn't stick out to me too much, and the voice acting, while good, it's basically just that the music didn't really stick out to me super great.
All right, whatever. Graphics and design. What do you guys think of the way the game looks? The way, like, the design style. Obviously, it's a pretty realistic looking game. They didn't go crazy with the different style of design, but I think it looks really good.
I think this game looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, supposedly the second, the best looking game on the PS5 is supposed to be that second Horizon Zero Dawn game, but I mean, who's
bow
playing
and arrow
it, so.
lady game?
Yeah, fat bitch with a bow. Wildlands or whatever.
People get so mad at us for saying she's fat, but it's just like, bro, I'm sorry.
I mean, here's the thing, like it's the fact that they intentionally made her fatter and uglier that I'm like, why would you do that? And then point it out and like be proud of it. Of course we're gonna mock you because you're an idiot. Like, it's one thing if she just happened to be. I mean, she already was kind of like a 6, but now she's she looks like Cody, man. She looks like a fucking Cody. I swear to God.
4.
Now she's like a 4.
I figured it out too, because
like,
Thrude in this game has the same fucking hairstyle. Basically, it's not that like they made him fat. Well, I mean, Thrude's fat, but it's just the hair. It's like they have really unflattering hairstyles in these games. It's the weird like dreadlock braid thing going on.
Yeah, you know, there's a girl
at
the Maverick here that has a dreadlock, and it's disgusting. Like, she's like a super skinny white chick, and it grosses me out. I'm like, that thing. Well,
it's just like
foul.
because the hair's all pulled back, you just see forehead for days, and it's like, I don't think like
a white person with dreads is a mistake.
Yeah, it's like the guys in Korn. It's like, no, the reason why people that like got bullied listen to you guys is because you look like people who got bullied. It's because you wear
Korn
you
also
look like
sucks,
shit.
so.
Yeah, and like, I know I like Korn, but and like your bassist, you know, he does interviews, and he's like, as him and like the lead singer for Slayer should like form an ultimate retard band, where like they give the worst interviews of all time. Like, oh yeah, you know, it's Slayer, it's Slayer. Like, I heard it and it was Slayer, and like, oh yeah, I know. It says it's Slayer and it's you. And then like the guy in Korn will be like, oh, and sometimes I put
the guys in Korn have used meth.
And so like, yeah, that's a fuck. And like, he's like, sometimes I play my bass like
they
this.
They are a bunch of meth heads.
In between my legs. Sometimes I put one leg over it and then I just slap the shit out. Sometimes I loosen the strings to the point where honestly I don't even know how they're still on there, and I just smack it like it's a ball of mosquitoes attacking me, and it's like, yeah, they should do like instead of like a, what is it, a super group, they should do like a non-super group of like the least talented fucking idiots that give the worst interviews of all time.
Call it Turb, the ultimate retard band.
Yeah, it's like those two. Fuck.
Oh, or like, oh fuck, is there a way to Tard?
It's Slayer.
Awesome retard dream team? I don't know.
Why would you name the band Tard and have retard in the band name?
Yeah, that's too much. Like,
I don't know. It sounds a little bit
Tarded.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, this game looks amazing. Like, just for the area design looks amazing.
There's a lot of really cool.
The color is great. Yeah, everything was like epic. Just where they place the camera, both in game and also in cutscene. I love the look of this game. It looks incredible to me.
Oh yeah. It made my TV it made good use out of my nice TV.
Do you have HDR?
Yes.
Nice. I think my monitor has HDR. At least I turned HDR on the PS4 version, and it like did something. So I guess it was working.
All right. What are you going to give it, Joe?
I gave it a 10, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean,
That's what I
assumed you
made to
would.
give it.
I'm going to give it a
10
10 also. It looks really fucking good. Like, Kratos looks like an old leathery bastard. The animations are all really good. The world, I like the look of it. I like the different aesthetics in each of the realms. It's really cool. In some of the realms, you get to explore more.
They're all going through their own forms of Fimbulwinter. So
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Svartalfheim, like all the water becomes like gaseous and acidic, and in Vanaheim, it's like super humid.
Yeah, and it's cool seeing it
yeah.
all, like how different they are.
And fucking Niflheim is completely frozen over, which is weird because it was a poison realm in the last game.
Yeah, that was a fun. Wasn't that an awesome little like freaking? It was almost like a freaking dungeon crawler, like that game mode.
It was cool the first few times, but then when I needed to get enough of the fucking mist echoes to craft like the last few things of armor and open up the last few realm tears at the top, I'm like, all right, now this is tedious because I'm just running through the thing and doing everything 2 or 3 times, and I'll have enough. But it was cool at first, yeah.
Wore out its welcome a little to you.
Yeah, I'm in a major upset. I'm going to give this game a 10 for the
1 out of
graphics.
10. Oh, okay.
No, I like the way the game looks, and I mean, I was playing it on the inferior version, and I still thought it looked really good. It ran at I only had like 1 or 2 moments of like slowdown, or like where the game would just freeze, and then a little loading thing would appear at the bottom right.
We never had that.
Well, I figured, yeah, but like for the PS4 version ran at like what I can assume is a solid 30 frames per second the whole time, or close to it, I guess. But it's like you guys said, the characters look really good. The facial capture's great. All the realms look really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Really grand, epic design. Really great use of color, like Joe said. So yeah, I would give this a 10 for graphics. I think it looks like fantastic.
Yeah. What about you, Zach? You've been oddly silent this time.
Sorry, I was going to the bathroom. I don't know. I didn't get to see Sif's tits, which makes me teeter towards a 9.
Yeah, no nudity.
No, I'm giving it a 10, dude. I'm giving it a 10. It's beautiful. This game looks great. Every area is different. Like, it actively looks different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and even if you go to, again, like we're talking about Vanaheim a lot, you go to Vanaheim and it's jungle and then it's wastes because of the crater and like the shit that happened there, and like it's actively different. It's new, and it there's different enemies, and it's just good. It's great. Everything looks great. Kratos looks amazing on the PS5. I don't know how the PS4 graphics were, which is what I was interested to hear about with A4, but
it basically ran fine, is what I was saying right before you came in. It looked good, and it ran at like a solid 30 frames a second, I guess.
nice.
I had
Okay, so I
one
mean-
moment where it like really slowed down, but that was it.
Okay, so I mean that's great. That's great. That's good. That's great for our listeners who don't have PS5s and want to play this. The PS4 is good and
Yeah.
it's viable.
Skip it. It's fine.
Rehashing an earlier comment, skill issue.
I mean, I was going to play this when it eventually came out on PC next year, but you know, we got to finish the
We
show.
rushed you, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10.
And let me tell you right now, if I had fucking paid $550 for a console to play this thing, I would have killed myself. Are you kidding? Holy
Look,
fuck.
I just wanted it for Conan Exiles with double loading speed, and that's exactly what I got.
You know what does that? PC. But
Yeah, come on. I don't want to play on this laptop.
I am coming on PC.
Yeah, so last category, possibly the most like value ridden category of all, replayability. Did we get our money's worth out of this game? Did you want to keep playing? Did you keep playing A4?
I'm definitely going to go back in maybe when I'm a little less busy with games for this and try to 100% complete it. And I did feel that pull as I was playing to do as much side content as possible. I don't know if I'll replay the story again anytime soon, but from a value standpoint, yeah, this thing definitely, you get your money's worth. I think personally, I would probably give it a for replayability, because I do want to go back and do a bunch of the side shit and clean that up.
What did you say?
They give you the chunks of Asgard when you beat the game.
You cut out
So-
right on your score.
I think I'm going to give it a 9
Okay.
for replayability because I do want to go back and do that extra stuff. And you get extra stuff when you beat the game. You get those chunks of Asgard, which is I didn't investigate any of them, but I got a side quest for it. So it
Yeah.
kind of does like the Mario thing where it's like you beat the game. Here's the other half of the game.
Yeah,
Maybe
there's
not the
more.
other half, but like yeah.
No, but nice. 9 out of 10. Zach, what about you?
10. 100% 10. I'm mad. I said this in the chat. I'm mad that I have to play Ocarina of Time. And it's not that I don't think Ocarina of Time is a good game. I am enjoying Ocarina of Time, and I'm having fun with Ocarina of Time. But I really, really wanted to finish all the side missions, and I wanted to finish this after story. Because right now, the path that you're on in the game when you beat it is after Ragnarok. And I
Yeah.
want to see how this affects Midgard, and I want to see how this affects the realms. And there's a funeral for Brock that you can go to, and I want to do that. I want to see how these characters are and how they interact, and I want to see what's new, what they talk about, what's next. Because I mean, they'd be dumb not to make another game, regardless of who you fight.
Oh, they're making
So, I
another
mean-
game. I mean, shit, the first one sold like 25 million copies, which is fucking insane.
I traveled from my lands to a different land, and then I traveled from there to a place called Jerusalem, and I fought some bitch ass named Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It just
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I'm thinking
Destroy my enemies, and my life is yours.
yeah, everybody just turns into sand, like salt, pillars of salt. Like, no.
It'd be a short game. It'd be a short game since it's a monotheistic religion.
Yeah, they got to
Moses!
Yeah, you'd have to bring in like prophets and major figures like Paul and,
I mean,
Moses.
So the game's going to get controversial when it decides whether or not God is Jesus, God is separate from Jesus,
Yeah.
or there's a Trinity.
Like, all right, who are we going to piss
They
off?
do a complete left turn and it's like,
the Catholics
Yahweh!
or everybody else?
Yeah, Yeshua. Well, I mean, if you look at the name, okay, we're gonna get religious for a second. If you look at the name, what is it? Elohim in Hebrew, it translates to Father of the Gods. So technically, Christianity is a polytheistic religion because they believe that you can become a god. In the scriptures, it does say there's like a line that's like, God is what man was, and God now is what man will be. And so it's like, because you can have that progression system, they are technically a polytheistic religion, but they go, there's one God, and you're like, okay, so you believe you can become this, especially in Mormonism, where they believe they can become a god and get a planet.
Could
They're
you
like,
imagine?
There's only one. There's only one. It's like, there's not, because you believe this, you fucking retard.
Could you?
You believe this, and you're pretending you don't. Anyway, Christianity.
I would imagine-
I would
is a
require people to
polytheistic
read.
religion.
I would require people to read the Bible.
I got on my mission. So I went, again, people who don't know and people do, I was LDS at one point in time, and I did go on a 2-year mission to a foreign country, and I fucking read all of these books, dude. I fucking went so fucking far deep into, like, the thoughts of these things and, like, reading these things, and, like, there's just so much that Christianity that they don't pay attention to because they don't want to, and they don't want to learn these things. It's stupid. Learn everything or just shut the fuck up. Like, decide. Anyway, sorry.
No, this is more your jam, or you little
Joseph
pagan,
Smith?
you pagan bitch.
Or
Let's go.
I love
Kratos?
it. I mean, there's definitely things that were different, but I mean, it
Oh, yeah,
was
there
fun.
are.
Like, I fucking love this game, dude. Like,
They should have
it's
made
fine.
the
They
world serpent kill Thor somehow. Like he should have used like a weapon made from like
But he
the world
doesn't.
serpent's tooth. Like that would have been a cool thing, but they didn't do it. And I was like, come on, that's something I even know, and I don't know shit.
By the way, of all the obvious shit that this game tells you, like they didn't tell you flat out that like when he puts the giant soul inside the snake in the grandmother's house, that's how he makes Jorgmender. Because like the whole thing was like, oh, Jorgmender came back in time from the
yeah,
future.
it's what so he goes back in time from the fight for Ragnarok. So like when you see like when Thor they're fighting and you see like him fighting, Thor just hits him and he goes fuck like that. Like that's him going back to Midgard because he gets hit so
but
hard that it doesn't.
they don't flat out tell you like, oh, that snake I gave that giant soul to eventually becomes Jorgmender. They just like they were actually subtle about it, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting thing too
They
because
didn't
like
talk about it for 5 minutes.
they're like I'm pretty sure like they're Loki's kids if I remember right. like Hel is Loki's daughter and like all these things, and they obviously can't go into that. But like in a way, he is their father because he created them. Like Fenrir, when he stabs the knife into the soul goes into.
Yeah. So what I thought was going to happen at the end was with the images that we saw, I thought Kratos was going to die and he was going to like bring him back with one of those like soul things. But then they didn't do it, and I was like, "Oh, that works too." Because if they would have killed him, I'd be like, "Sorry, I'm out."
Instead, he just goes around the other side of the shrine, and it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get worshipped." Oh my god,
like,
people
sweet.
love me.
The sequel is amazing. It's like Frank Herbert. You're like, "Oh man, that first one was good, but now it's gonna get crazy."
Well, no, they paid. That's payoff from before. I know where Thor was like, "No one loves you, no one respects you, no one worships you." Blah, blah, blah.
Well, it was the fact that he was, and it like I read about this a little bit because I was kind of interested. It's he's worshipped as a peaceful god, that he's no longer like worshipped as.
Well, yeah, because he got plenty of worship back in Greece. I mean, shit, those guys loved him. Like God of War 2, man, they're down.
Yeah, they loved him until he wasn't a god anymore. Until he was just like taking over every fucking city.
Yeah, that's fair. Shit, yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to go back. Sorry, I didn't sorry. I am definitely giving it a 10 because I definitely am going to go back and replay this. I'm so fucking excited to replay 2018. Dude, I wanted 100% that and then go back into this because I'm going to do it. This game is my game of the year for last year. It's the one I was most anticipated for. It was the one that I wanted to play the most. I fucking loved it. Yeah. So for me, like this is everything I wanted, and I'm really excited about it. And that's not to say that I don't think Elden Ring is amazing, and I don't think Stray was fucking amazing, and I didn't like those games because I really did. But for me personally, this is the game I was looking forward to the most, and for me, it had the biggest payoff because I was super excited for it. Yeah. So I just do love it. I loved everything about it. I had so much fun. Nice. I want to play it immediately. Like I want to replay it immediately. Like that's the thing is I want to play this game from start again. But I get to play Ocarina of Time, which again I don't think is a bad game. I just really I have to differentiate now because Schweiss and Joe.
You keep having
I don't think Ocarina of Time is a bad game.
I have to play a better game now. Oh, boo!
Yeah. Do 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 do. Fuck
again,
you.
I'm not A4. I think it's I'm on
Fuck
your
you,
side.
man.
I think Ocarina of Time is great.
I'm doing it to neg.
9 out of 10. I hated every minute of it.
I'm just wanted to play God of War more.
It's what Zach was saying. Like he was messaging me separately from the group chat, and he was like, "Wait, but you're actually having fun with it?" I'm like, "Yes, it's just to quote the game, this could be better."
Yeah,
I'm having fun with this game.
Well, so I don't know. I felt like Ford got mad at me, so I had to message him separately and be like, "Hey, like, I'm just kidding."
Oh no! Wait, was that? Was that when you said to change the difficulty? And I was in the Muspelheim trials, and I saw the runes that look like NF on the ground. I'm like, you're being a real NF right now.
For the listeners, we do have a Nude clan chat, and I posted one of the funniest things I think I posted in a long time. Was A4 was complaining about the combat, and Schweiss kept telling him
specifically there's a trial where you have to like kill enemies to get these like the orbs that explode. That come out of the ancients, and you have to throw them in this void. And like, I was just not having a good time.
Never lost that once, and I loved it. That was like I would seek that one out later.
If I wasn't running out of time, I was getting killed. Like,
yeah, they hit pretty hard. Those guys.
So that's where the joke for the beginning of the show comes from. Is Schweiss told A4 he had a skill issue, which I jumped
Which is the best thing he could have said to me because I can't defend against that.
But
you can't defend against the enemies in this game. He was
fighting Schweiss. So I went through, and I was working so fast. I was like driving home from my work, so I was driving back up to Salt Lake, and I was like in traffic, and I'm like, gotta find this. And so I found how to change the difficulty level in God of War Ragnarok. And I set it to chat and tagged A4, and I was like, I think this is right up your alley.
And then I got real petty later when you were like, "Oh, I beat the Forest Temple and I accidentally turned off my 3DS and I lost all that." I'm like, "Quick, let me find an article to put a fucking rubber strip over your 3DS's power button."
Yeah.
And dick.
I think the best thing I saw online was that thing I sent you guys earlier with the like old lady in the Walmart where the dude's like, "Hey, grandma, should we get a movie or a video game?"
Spider-Man.
Yeah, she's like, "What the fuck?
No, that's
fucking
Peter
me.
Parker. That's my fucking face."
Yeah, I was dying at that thing, dude. And then like the Grand Theft Auto, "What the fuck? That's me." Totally like unrelated, but yeah, amazing. I'm giving replayability a 10 as well. I made the time to play this game slow and hard, and like I took my time and I did everything, and it was awesome.
Make it sound more sexual.
Yes, moist, slapping, flesh slapping, ass clapping,
Veiny,
Slow,
Throbbing.
hard, warm, wet.
throbbing, fucking good old time. Then I took a nap after I got done too. I really did. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot to do in this game. I think it was like it took me like over 100 hours. I'm pretty sure because I suck at this game.
Dude,
I really
I did a good chunk of the side stuff, and I had like 34 hours.
I suck at this game. Like
and I'm like
was not
probably only
good.
halfway done with everything. So
I'm not good at the fights. The fucking like the asshole berserker dudes, they took forever for me. But I had a really good time with it. I enjoyed exploring. I enjoyed all the side quests. The side quests in this one are way better than in one. Like way better. There's so many more of them, and they're more in depth.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. I don't know. The story I think is a little long in the tooth, but it's hard to tell though because it only felt that way when I was trying to hurry up and like, okay, let's do some more, and then it's like, fuck, like this is slow and like it's taken a while and. You know, so maybe the campaign isn't as fun, but like I wanted to go back in, and I did. So, and if I
maybe the story feels a little less. Yeah, you might be right that if you break it up a bit with some of the side content, it might be a little less insistent.
Yeah,
to quote the Family Guy thing.
Yeah, I don't know though, because it's hard. That's the thing is like it felt like the story took a long time, but I also was breaking it up with a ton of gameplay, and I was like operating on a schedule. Like, okay. I need to do this in like 3 weeks, and then it's like 6 weeks later I finally beat it. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not being done until I 100% this thing, and then I'll put it down and move to the next thing. And that was my plan from the beginning with Ragnarok. So,
and I do want to 100% it. I 100% of the first one, and I enjoyed my time despite how much I bitched.
Yeah. So
I was mostly just 100% it out of spite because it's just like, oh, these guys want to make fun of me for being bad at the combat. Fine, I'll beat Sigrun. I'll beat Sigrun with fucking bells on, dude. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. So final thoughts on Ragnarok. I think it's a great experience. It's not as good as the last game, which does break the God of War tradition of number 2 being the best. But it's still.
I think
really,
this is 2 and 3 because it's the end of this. It's the end of this Norse one.
Yeah, so maybe that's why
it's 2 games.
That's why it's not as good because 3 isn't as good. Yeah, it's awesome though. I really enjoyed my time. I think it was great. And you know what the thing I love about this game is? It came out, it's all there, and now it's done. Like that's such a rare thing these days. Like, oh, here's half the game. It's almost finished. Like it's all fucked up, but here it is. You can pay $1 million for it. It's like this is the olden times. This is like, you know, like a game on the PS2 where it's just now it's out and that's it. You know, this is it. There's no
that
DLC.
Is a very good point.
There's no bullshit. It's just here's God of War 2 Ragnarok. Have fun. We'll be back in 5 years. You know, that's such a rare thing these days.
Yeah, especially because Sony's really leaning into the live service shit as of late. So
yeah,
this might be like the last hurrah for one of their major studios to put out like a game that's just. Here it is. Like,
yeah, have fun. Like that's what it always was before, and not always to success.
Grumblish asks, "You don't want the Kratos thong cosmetic DLC?"
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you can have that. They had that in the original.
Where's the cup noodle side quest?
Yeah, no shit. Where's
Where you
the
get
time?
the hat?
The time side quest with the MMO, God of War MMO.
I want to do the God of War one where you get the ocarina. That would be.
Yeah. It's just like a bunch of horns. He has it's like a harmonica, but it's a bunch of horns combined.
Oh, you mean like what the Deku Scrub gets in Majora's Mask?
I have no
when
idea.
When he gets the ocarina, you'll see.
What? No spoilers, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, don't spoil that.
It's like it happens in the first 30 minutes of the game.
I've never played Majora's Mask before.
Yeah, I've just heard that it sucks, and I've also heard that Ocarina is the greatest game of all time. So if that one sucks.
I was going to say, no, Majora's Mask is the weird one. The people that say Majora is their favorite Zelda game are the weird people that, like, they're the same kind of people that, like, say that 9 is their favorite Final Fantasy. It's like, you just like it because it's the weird one.
Because you're like an oblong, weirdly shaped human being. It's because you're
Yeah.
at the magic table. That's why. You're the magic table.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking playing
They're
Yu-Gi-Oh.
hipsters. They're hipsters. People who like Majora better than Ocarina are hipsters. Same thing with people who like 9 as their favorite Final
Oh,
Fantasy.
so do you like Majora's the best? I'm guessing. A4.
Not really, no.
Oh, are you hipstering the hipsters?
No, I just like good games. Not that Majora's a bad game. It's just I'm not really a big fan of the gameplay loop of it. But
Yeah.
it's what it does is cool. It's just not for me.
So on replayability, I wanted to play more, and that's really like I was just trying to beat this game as fast as humanly possible, and it deserved more of my time than what I gave it for sure. Same with the first game. Honestly, I think I was in a similar situation then where I was just like, I'm just gonna plow this thing so I can get it done on time. And I loved it so much, and there was so much extra stuff to do that it just felt like I didn't give it enough. And the story's good enough to replay it again. So, I mean, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic game, and I would love to play it again, and I would love to be able to do all the side stuff. I only went off and did like one side thing, which was kind of near the beginning.
Yeah, you like really Joe Corded.
Yeah. So
I mean, we call it Joko for a reason. It's
Yeah, I
named
know,
after,
but like it's so
named
on the
after
nose
him.
when it's actually him.
Well, we named it after him, right?
Yes, that's
Just-
I know, but like
It's
you
too bad
think
the way
like
You'll go.
it's like when you see people of a certain race
I shouldn't have told you.
robbing
to go.
a
God damn it.
store.
God damn it, Zach.
You're like, I
mean,
know
dude,
that
this is where I was gonna go. Blame me.
Zach, did you?
I
rob-
didn't give the child the gun.
I didn't specify the race. It could have been white people, by the way. You were talking about whites earlier, WIGHTS, and someone in the chat said Zach has a problem with the whites, WHITES.
In fact, I do.
you, Steve.
No, so
No, that's why he doesn't see the sun. He wants to become one of us. That's why he's so pasty.
no, I don't.
You just
wanna
have to
make
kill
it
your
short.
family in a Greek village, and then you'll get covered in their ashes, and you'll be pasty forever.
Yeah.
Honestly,
good.
that'd be badass.
They make a couple jokes about that in this game. They're like, if someone calls him pasty, and then
Yeah,
like,
someone
else
does
says,
call him pasty.
someone else says like, you could use some sun actually.
You want to hear part of the awkward conversation I had 2 days ago with my girlfriend the other day?
Not really.
She was watching some Mexican television, and I went like, why are there so many white people in Mexican television? And then she got kind of mad at me. She's not Mexican, by the way. She's Colombian. She's like, what? Like, there's no white people in Colombia? There were like 2 actresses that showed up in this entire show that looked Hispanic to me. It was like,
Right.
okay, that looks like a person who I would guess would be from Mexico. Like that woman and that woman right there. Everybody else is super fucking white. Like they don't even look Spanish. Spanish people have a look to them. They don't even look Spanish, like of Spanish descent. They just look fucking white. And then I had to go down this like rabbit hole. Turns out like 20% of Mexicans are of European ancestry, right? And I'm like, I've seen one in my entire life. I've seen one white Mexican ever at the grocery store. And she came up to me. She had an accent, and she was like looking for milk that wasn't refrigerated, and it confused the fuck out of me because I didn't even know that existed.
Oh yeah, box milk. Box milk is the shit, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, like that was a whole situation, and I think I got to it. My girlfriend, she considers herself like white, but when I was like, I'm sorry.
I don't, however.
I was like, sorry, babe. Honestly, if you're in a room of white people, you're gonna stand out. You're gonna definitely look like you're Hispanic. So that was a fun.
Yeah,
that was
you're
a
like,
fun moment.
Sorry, you're not in the
takes- he-
club.
He takes out that
That's
color
kind
chart
of the
from that Family
point.
Guy joke where the police pull Peter over and they're checking to see
Yeah.
if they arrest him or not.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, "Oh, do I look like I'm Hispanic?" I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You gotta take her.
You do.
You're like,
You gotta
sweetie,
take
I
your-
wouldn't be dating you if you did not.
Yeah, if you looked white,
No,
sorry.
No, Joe, you got to take her. You got to take her down the makeup aisle at the grocery store, and you got to see what color foundation she buys.
Yeah, and be like, see what I say?
Because like my wife gets like caramel or some shit. I don't know.
He's just making up. She gets toffee. coffee colored.
They're all
Yeah.
named shit like that.
They
Like,
are kind
No,
of.
I know. Trust me, I am aware of the names.
when
now
she like
for
sends me to the
makeup.
store to get foundation, it's like, do I get burnt umber or do I get
Oh,
seal?
dude, she does not
You're
fucking
like, how
trust
black
me
are you?
for
Are you
makeup for
like
anything.
charcoal, or are we talking like chocolate milk? Because I get these colors, I just can't. I can't.
I get pink lady.
Yeah. Great apples, by the
Okay.
way.
Nothing prompted that, but okay.
I real quick, I think it's a shame that we're not doing shirts anymore because we could make a shirt that says Joe Core on it.
And
it can say on the back, like,
have a
sorta-
shirt store still, but
Okay, so why don't we do Joe Core on the back? It says sort of beating video games.
I was worried you were going because like they used to have the Nude Clan shirts for every host, like for like a different, but like for me it would probably just say like what when there's a certain person of a certain race that goes into Rob's store. That's the quote on the front.
yeah. And then that only people only wear it when they're robbing stores and they're doing robberies.
Well, you can only buy it if you're white. We won't sell to black. We won't sell to non-white customers.
I see.
That shirt.
Anyway, so recapping the scores real quick. Story.
Joe is
Joe
just fucking.
dying.
Joe
Yeah.
is gobsmacked right now.
Me and Joe gave it a 9. A4 gave it a 7. Zach gave it a 10. Gameplay 10 for me and Zach. 8 from Afer and 9 from Joe. Sound and music 10s, except for A4 who gave it an 8. Graphics and design
Cunt!
10s across the board. Replayability
I'm like the,
10s except for A4 who gave it a 9, which is a combined 48 out of 50 from Joe, 49 out of 50 from myself, 42 out of 50 from A4, and a perfect score from Zach. All combined and mixed into a 94.5. And at Nude Clan, I know we've said we round
down.
up, but we do round down, and that is the most recent thing we've said, and that's exactly what we're
So
doing.
94 is actually the Metacritic, or like the one of the main scores for this game is 94 out of.
Oh, wow.
Out of
I
100.
feel like the German judge in all the cartoons where like everyone gives them like a 10 and then the judge gives like the German judge gives like an 8.
Yeah. 9.
Yeah, you're the bad guy in like the contest movie. That's exactly what you are. Like there'll be like one guy who gives it an okay score, another guy who gives it an okay score, and then an asshole who gives it like a 3. And then finally the last judge Zach gives it a 10 at the end and they barely eke by.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's bad. Yeah, that's actually pretty true. So, God of War Ragnarok, 94 out of 100. Tied with Persona 5, Metroid Prime, Halo Reach for the 10th greatest game of all time, according to Nude Clan. So, top 10, 2 God of War games. There you have
It's a
it.
great game. Great game. I loved it.
It is. It's pretty fun.
Great movie. It's not as good as Elden Ring, but I mean,
It's definitely better as a movie than Elden Ring. Come on. Elden Ring's story makes no fucking sense.
yeah, but Elden Ring's a video game. I don't put
Yeah, that's
video games
true.
up against movies. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I do that all the time. I'd be like, well, I hate this game more than I hated that movie.
Okay, what's better, the Two Towers or the Two Towers video game?
The Two Towers.
Probably the movie. The video game's awesome. And like the level, the Helm's Deep level, I could play for days.
Yeah.
Kicking those
So
ladders
fucking-
down.
By the way, the Ragnarok level just kind of felt like a Helm's Deep ripoff to me. Not gonna lie, but
Yeah, kind of. It was.
I don't give a fuck. That was so fun. I fucking loved it, dude.
Truthseek asks, is Joe offended when a video game gets called cinematic?
Am I offended when a video game gets called cinematic?
Yes, that would be the question I just asked.
Well, I was repeating it for myself so I can mull it over for a little
So
longer.
he can look pretentious.
I don't know
See?
if you realize
He's
that
a
that's how
hipster.
some people talk.
Only hipsters would talk like that.
I don't
No,
know.
I think I get.
No, I don't.
No, and then
think
he has
so.
to take a sip of his double white chai latte.
I don't get offended at hardly anything. I don't get offended at someone calling a video game cinematic. Mostly because what it does is just underline the fact that video games wish they were movies.
Yeah, Hideo
they will never
Kojima is a
reach
perfect
the-
example.
Well,
of
hold on.
the art of cinema.
Let's add a qualifier to that. Bad video games wish they were movies. With like most of Sony's first party output.
I do actually. So, what I loved about the first God of War, and I know you don't agree with this, A4, was that it did tell a story in an interactive way.
Yeah,
in which
I would agree. The story
was
in the first
still
one's better.
going, but you were also still playing a game.
Sometimes.
When most games, shut the fuck up. Let me fucking talk without you cutting me off for once in my fucking life, A4. Thank you. Let me have my dramatic pauses too, as a broadcaster, please. Thank you.
You're a broadcaster?
Podcaster, whatever. I broadcast my voice. Shut the fuck up, Zach. You too. Don't fucking cut me off right now in the middle of a fucking thought. I don't start knowing where the sentence ends, okay? I'm not like you, all right? I don't talk very quickly. That's why. I'm a fucking chat GPT. I'm trying to figure out the sentence as I go along.
Continue.
I don't remember where I was talking about. There you go. That's where we're at now.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, got it. With the first God of War, or 2018, I mean by first God of War, it told its story and it was playing, and it was a game basically the whole time. The cutscenes were like 30 seconds long. Like, from you not being able to do anything in the game to like seeing a little bit of a movie-esque section or something, like the end of a boss fight or something. And then it would go into you back into the game again. And what I thought was fantastic about that was that it was playing to the medium strength while also trying to tell a story. Because a video game is a visual medium, but it is also an interactive medium. And what video games before that, and I'd say before most games outside of, like, I guess Half-Life has done it, where you're just standing there and the story happens around you, right? But it did it so much better than that. It was actually both interactive and being a storytelling medium at the same time. Most games, you play the game, then you watch a cutscene, then you play the game, then you watch a cutscene. In this one, in 2018, it was way more fluid than any game I'd ever played before. I realized there were precursors to it, but that's what I thought was actually really fantastic about it. It was like, if you're gonna use video games as a storytelling medium, then it still has to be a game for at least most of it. You can't just be like, as soon as you put the controller down and you watch something that's longer than like 5 minutes, then it's trying to be a movie. Then it's trying to be a TV show. I don't even think this one, its cutscenes were actually really short. I think you're giving it way too much of the, it's trying to be a movie credit that it actually has. I think the gameplay is, you're playing a game a lot longer than you're watching any cutscene in this game. I disagree with your premise at the beginning of this episode.
I think he means more along the lines of it's very cinematic, like a movie. Like, it's all one shot. It's all just like the way they do it.
Well, a
It's
video
movie-like.
game is visual. It just uses a different technology for a visual thing. Like, your brain is putting together an image based upon what it's seeing on the screen. So I don't know if I...
Yeah, but not all of them are trying to have the same flow as a movie. You know what I mean? Maybe they are trying, but they just don't pull it off.
I think movies use cuts. Both these God of War games have not used cuts. So, I mean, there's a couple of movies out there that are single take things, right? But it's different to me. It's different to me. Like, it's the interactive element. It's not just an element. It's actually like the forefront of it.
Yeah.
Being part of the storytelling that I think is like what's really great about the first God of War, especially. So yeah,
I meant that it's cinematic, but also there are times where I want to do something with my character or like move my character, and the game is busy doing stuff that isn't in a cutscene, but it is like not letting me, like when I saved the jellyfish and I have to just sit there and watch it for 2 fucking minutes, and I'm like trying to leave the area as Kratos because I don't care, and it's not letting me.
You will care.
But Kratos
This game
cared.
But I don't, and I'm not Kratos. I'm controlling Kratos. At least I thought I was, until the game was like, no, we dictate that you must stand here for 2 minutes and watch these jellyfish fly around. And there's other moments like that I don't remember specifically. That was just one that really stuck out of my mind. But there's a lot of times in this game where it's just like, oh, I can't do anything right now because the game is busy like doing its fucking thing.
Yeah, jerking
where it's like,
itself
I have to approach, like I'm exploring and I approach an objective from the wrong side, like a crank that you could approach it from any side, but I have to approach it from this side because they only animated it one way. And it's just like, you know, if it was like a video game instead of a movie, they would have, like, that stuff wouldn't matter because of the way that this game is filmed, quote unquote, like things have to be done in very specific ways. Whereas like in other games with different engines, it wouldn't really matter as much.
I don't know. I think that's part of them, and I don't really think of it as a movie thing. I do think it's just them. And when you're telling a story, you have to control the audience's experience. Otherwise, it doesn't work as well. Like, people have tried a million times. There's like fucking how to, like, you pick your own ending books and shit like that. Like, there's never been like, oh, there's not a single one of those books that belongs on the shelf with like To Kill a Mockingbird. Like it's never worked. It's never worked to the same level as something that's actually using the medium to its full extent, which is you as the artist are telling the audience what to you're showing them what you want to show them, and then you're taking them on a journey. So that there is a dance with like, you got to let the player do what they want to do, but also you have to control their experience of it because you're trying to tell a story in a video game. So, I mean, do you just not like the idea of video games as a storytelling medium?
I do. I don't like the idea of video games trying to be movies. I don't think you'd argue that, and I'm not going to sit back to the Ocarina comparisons. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ocarina's story is fucking Shakespeare. It's not the greatest story ever told. It's very rudimentary, but like,
no, it makes you stop and watch a horrible cutscene and then go
I
back
wouldn't
to the
say
game.
that. I wouldn't say that Ocarina of Time's story is like, or the way that its story is presented is super duper cinematic. Not in the way that like this game is, where it's very much trying to emulate film and the one shot thing of movies. Like Ocarina of Time, at least I can make certain decisions in terms of like how I approach each thing and how I like in what order I'm going to go do things. Whereas like with something like this, it feels a lot more linear and sort of set in its ways. I'm not explaining it very well, and maybe that's not the best comparison.
I mean, you're okay. So like what I have a problem with that is that like Ocarina of Time, it does have cutscenes. Yeah. And you get to a certain spot, and then the cutscene just starts, and then you're left alone to watch a thing. And the thing is not as good as, like, God of War. The cutscenes are as good as many a TV or movie.
But that's the thing. It's trying to be TV or a movie. Like, Zelda's not
well,
trying
if it reaches the heights where it's as good as that, I don't see a problem with that.
Because video games can do so much more by doing less, by not trying to emulate TV and movie in their linear fashion. Video game, like, I think it's a thing where a lot of the games that have good gameplay and good player choice probably don't have as good of a story, or as like in depth of a story as something like Ragnarok, where it's like the games that like I guess Doom 2016 would be a good example, where it's like that game to me is about as close to a perfect game as I can think of. But the story I wouldn't give a 10 because it doesn't care about its story. But that's like almost to its benefit because it knows that you're not here for the story. You're here to play a Doom game. That's a bit of apples and oranges. I'm trying to think of more like a.
Like, you got to tell me a game that is, because you can tell with this game they are trying to tell a story.
Yes.
And that means story. I don't mean they're trying to show you a movie, because that's not the only version of story there is. They're trying to tell a story. So I mean, is there really a better way that you could, like, would you rather have the cutscenes like we do in the God of War trilogy? Because I don't think those are nearly as effective. That goes from gameplay to movie to gameplay to movie instead of being one fluid thing. I think the fluidity of it is what I think is remarkable about it.
I understand like the fluidity aspect, and I think that the one-shot thing is a very interesting idea for this game. I just don't think that like its priorities as a game are in the right. I don't think its priorities are in the right like headspace for this game. It definitely feels like it's trying to be more of a cinematic experience, whereas like the original God of War trilogy, those are video games. Those are games where like I'm really having a hard time explaining.
I really
like,
think it's the camera that's your problem because you can't, it's just too close.
Well, there's that, yes, but like, I don't know. It just feels like when I want to do something in this game and I can't do it because the game needs me to look at something or the game needs to show me something or have a character talk before I'm allowed to act.
Yeah, but old games though, when you have a cutscene going, you can't just control it either. So I feel like you're almost onto something, but you can't quite.
It's because I think maybe it's because it's trying to blend the cinematics and the gameplay seamlessly to the point where it's like, at least in an older game where there is a cutscene and there's gameplay, it's like when the gameplay starts, it's like, okay, I know now what I'm allowed to do, but also cutscenes in a lot of the older games that I'm like trying to think of they're not as self-indulgent as this game's cutscenes are, and the cutscenes in this game
fucking disagree.
Granted, I don't think the cutscenes in this game are very long.
Having done 54 fucking Final Fantasy games, I strongly disagree with you about like something like going on too long. And have you fucking played FF14? My God.
No, I love myself.
Yeah, true.
I'm really not doing a good. I'm really doing a shitty job. Of
I think you're almost there to something, and I kind of see where you're coming from, but I don't. I'm in the same way. Like I can't quite put my finger on what you're trying to say. Other than saying
really
the gameplay,
because it's like
the gameplay is annoying because you can't see far enough around you because it's focusing on the one camera, the one angle. That's the thing it's focusing on.
That's part of it, but it's just like. Again, it's the fact that like this is trying so hard to be. It's trying to emulate TV and movies.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that though. That's the difference. So,
and that's fine if you guys don't have a problem with it. But like, there's a certain attitude when these games try to emulate TV and movies, where it's like, okay, this is clearly where its bread is buttered, and it would rather be a TV show or a movie. I'm not sure why they go about making it a video game, besides the fact that it's called God of War and it was, a sequel to a video game series.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's necessarily this game's like biggest thing. Again, I'm doing a really shitty job of explaining this.
I think I totally differ with you because I see it as movies and television shows are not interactive. Period.
Right. Yeah.
That is what defines the difference between a video game and movies and TV. And this game, as opposed to many things that are called video games, actually has you be much more, well, this one less so, but definitely the first one, much more interactive throughout the storytelling. You get so much of the story just through the interactions while you're solving puzzles, for example. And again, the cutscenes are short. And again, the cutscenes are largely interactive, especially in comparison to a game where you just stop and you watch a 20-minute cutscene, which they exist. So
I think my problem... Maybe what my problem is like when a character. Well, yes, but also like when something like Atreus, where like Atreus hits Sindri, turns into a bear, hits Sindri, and then runs away, and it's just like, well, I didn't decide to do that. And now all of a sudden, I'm like forced to fucking deal with the ramifications of that, or like maybe at the end, if it fucking made me choose whether or not to break the mask or not, and you could get a different ending for that, possibly. I don't know. This game feels very
it's
rigid.
You don't like that it's on rails within the storytelling, while also.
But it feels so much more on rail. It feels so much more on rails than in just like the fact that it doesn't have multiple endings. Actually, someone on Twitter actually said this is a quote ghost train ass game, and I think that might be what it is. It's like it comes off more as like a theme park ride than an actual like thing where you can go off and choose to do your own thing. Granted. It's not an open world game, so that's what it is. But yeah, it does feel very scripted. It does feel very kind of like you have to do things the way the game wants you to do them. Which now that I'm thinking about it, was kind of the reason why I wasn't like super big on Red Dead Redemption 2, because it's like if you're not playing the game the way that the game wants you to play it, or the game is directed how you need to play it in order for this to play out the way it wants it to, then you fail. Not that this game goes that far, but it definitely has the feeling of like, I feel more like as a player, I am being directed as opposed to making my own decisions in a game like this.
Do you just not like the idea of video games as a strong, I would say strong storytelling medium?
I think it can work. I think it can work in certain...
Where story is king, not
I think it can work in certain
gameplay.
genres. Obviously, like visual novels and point-and-click adventure games, that's almost all story as opposed to gameplay.
Yeah, but could you tell a great story that way?
Yeah, of course. There's
I
great
would say
visual novels
no.
with great stories.
I would
And there's
say
great
you
point-and-click
can't
adventure
tell
games.
any story where you as the audience member get to choose it. There's no such thing as a great anything because you're not.
I don't know, man. I would disagree. I think the Ace
No,
Attorney
there's
games have
no
good stories.
way to take something that has like 27 different ways to go about it and write a masterpiece in there.
Well, no, not all these games have multiple endings, but I'm saying like there are certain visual novels, like maybe like Ace Attorney, or I know a lot of.
I mean, the
people really
Walking
like,
Dead one is like acclaimed. Like people love that one.
That would,
So
that's
I would
like
say
close
for
enough.
that,
That's close enough to a point-and-click adventure game.
it's
Too,
one
I
that
would say.
people really enjoy.
And that one
But-
does technically have like choice. It's really not there. Like at the end of the day, like it all ends the same way. But
It's like how
you
Fable
have
has
different
choice.
variables that you can choose as you go along. Whereas like, it feels like something like God of War Ragnarok doesn't even give me the choice to like do something that maybe. I'm trying to remember. Like there was something where it's just like, oh, the game won't even let me do this. Like I think it was like I was trying to like shoot my bow at a character, and it just wouldn't even let me do it. And it's like I get why, but it's like, you know, because that's clearly not the direction that the story was supposed to go. I get it. It's a thing where it's like I said. It's like, I feel like I'm being more directed as a player than
I
allowing
think-
my own choices in a game like this.
I think you just don't like authority. You just don't like to be told what to do.
I don't actually. I
You
don't like
don't
being
like-
told what to fucking do.
You don't like to be told what to do. And
I
this
don't
game
like to
is
be told what
telling
to
you-
fucking do. Because like I was thinking about Until Dawn the whole time, which is very on rails because it's
Oh
basically
fuck!
a
Until
choose-
Dawn.
Until Dawn's just basically a choose your own adventure game, but like you can make choices in that game and it does affect the outcome. I'm not saying that every game needs to have like a billion fucking different endings, but it's like at least in something like Breath of the Wild, which has one definitive ending, I am allowed to choose a bunch of different variables leading up to that ending. I guess you could even say the same thing with like Ocarina of Time. It's like I don't necessarily have to like do all of the like the heart piece quests or all this other ancillary shit in order to get to the ending. Again, it's a bad example because there's side quest shit too in God of War Ragnarok.
That's a terrible
I don't know.
example because it
It is a terrible example. I know. I thought about it as soon as I was saying it. I'm like, fuck, I'm fucking up right now.
Maybe you can like walk around and get lost in Zelda, but is that really like fun? You know, is that like I get to choose to not remember where to go? Isn't this so cool? I get the choice of being
I mean,
lost
in
retard.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I will say yes because it's fun to explore in those games. Those controls are for.
Yeah.
But again, it would go to the game by game basis. But I mean, I'm with Joe where I like the cinematics of this. I like the story.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
I
that. It's just that,
I don't feel like I'm forced to do something because when I'm in the story, like it's like even with Ragnarok, I was in the story and I had fun. And it's not that it's like, oh, I had to do this, but it's like I get to do this as this character because this is this character's journey, which is becoming my journey as I'm playing this.
Yeah, I feel like the game you're
And yeah,
explaining is
some
almost
games are
no game.
forced, but I mean, if that's not and maybe that's not your jam. Like, I mean, you love video games, but like, fuck, like bigger RPGs, like what is it, fucking Dragon Age Inquisition, Skyrim, things like that. Or fuck, what is it? Fable, where all of your decisions culminate to whether you're good or evil. There's games that scratch that itch.
well,
but,
again, it's not the thing where it's like every game needs to have multiple endings. But kind of what you said about like I'm doing this because it's what the character would do. I think that's maybe what sticks in my craw a little bit with something like this because it's like and Truthseek said so gaming drives the story where cinematic the story drives you, which it's like I feel more like I'm being directed, but like. At the point where you're doing something because it's what the character would do, at least in a game like this, it's almost like at that point, you might as well be watching a movie or a TV show because you're not really getting a lot of agency in terms of like being able to change the outcome or at least parts of the outcome of the story. where like
were you playing this game to change the outcome of the story, or were you?
No,
playing
but there's
it-
like certain points where I was trying to do things and it's like I couldn't do it because it wasn't predetermined. But like going back to the thing where it's basically a theme park ride, like if you're in the mindset of like being immersed in a theme park ride, then yeah, it's great. And it's the problem is probably just my mindset of being like, I'm not into this theme park ride. So anytime I'm trying to break it, I'm getting like my hand slapped by the ride op and going like, no, you can't do that. Keep your hands inside the ride at all times and do what we tell you. So you liked it because you were totally immersed in the story, and that's totally fine. It just didn't work for me as well. I think that's maybe where the difference is coming in. And it tends to happen a lot more with a very cinematic oriented games of late. And honestly, we got really away from it, but like the reason that like it's happening so much more now is because the technology has gotten so good that we can almost basically replicate the feel of a cinematic experience like a movie or a TV show in the graphical fidelity and the sound quality and all that shit of modern gaming. So I think that's maybe why it's a bigger problem now than it would have been, say, on the SNES, where, you know, obviously that's a video game because it's pixels, but now the graphics have gotten so good that it's almost indistinguishable from real life, give or take. But yeah, like it's a good facsimile of what a movie or a TV show can be. So obviously some games are going to try and take that route because we have the technology now. So I think that's maybe why it's more of a prevalent problem in the current age, as opposed to way back when, where limitations bred the kind of gameplay styles that we became accustomed to 20 and 30 years ago. Yeah.
I think
Sorry for the long-winded thing.
Yeah, I think the difficulty with video games and storytelling is that it's playing this Schweiss and I have talked about this on UFF. It's playing this, it's trying to have this balance between like letting you have agency but also trying to control your experience, because a story is something that where, I mean, you disagree, you think visual novels are fun and not the most boring thing you've ever seen.
I wouldn't say that they're fun, but like they can be good stories.
Regardless, like,
yeah,
what you mean by good story and what I mean by good story are like, do you ever think any visual novel will be as good, like, as The Godfather? Are they ever gonna, like, are any of the Ace Attorney games gonna have that depth of character and that emotional core and that singular experience where you have to talk about it with your friends afterwards? And
I think
it's going to go on for 30 years where it's about the story. It's not about, like, how fun it was on the N64. Like,
again, I'm not playing visual novels for fun, but I think that because visual novels are essentially just books that have visual elements, hence visual novel, there are visual novels that can have stories that are as good, if not better, than something like, say, The Godfather. I don't know if Ace Attorney hits that, like, high watermark, but I know there's people that will go to bat for stuff like Yumi Neko or Higurashi or what the House in Fata Morgana, which is like a big one. And I'm not super well versed in visual novels, so I'm just giving the basic examples that I can think
I
of.
don't know. If it has anything, any anime cliche trope in it, I'm out, and there's no fucking way.
I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Japan
loves
if
their
any
visual
character
novels.
goes like, "Ma," and then there's like big tears to the side of their heads, I'm fucking out. That thing is not on the same level. Don't give me that bullshit. I just doubt it. I doubt it. I'm not saying no. I am saying I doubt it.
You're saying
it's just not your style. It's just not your style. Much like how something like God of War, with its very like Western, like we got to be as realistic as possible, as sort of like HBO as possible with its direction, is not necessarily.
I mean, you mean the best television in the world that the world has ever seen? HBO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I've seen a good amount of Game of Thrones. It's not as good as Gurren Lagann. I'm just saying.
I don't even know what that is.
All right.
Don't worry, it's peak fiction. You'd hate it.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for hanging out for this review of God of War Ragnarok, as we tried to figure out why A4 doesn't like it and made no headway.
Look. I'm very conflicted about this game because it is a game that I did enjoy playing. It is a game that I think has a lot of
you can still think it's overrated.
Sort of add up over time. It's a thing where it's like I see what this game is trying to do, and if it was trying to be a little bit less like a Netflix show, I think it could be a good video game.
Yeah,
the
it's
first
like
three God of War games
it's like Avatar. I think it's overrated. Do I have any problems with it? Not really. I just don't think it's the greatest movie ever made. I think a lot of people blow it. I think a lot of people blow it too hard, and it's good. It's fun. It's fine. Avatar Land in Disney World, awesome. Not as cool as Star Wars as a universe. Sorry, only got one movie.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean just because you say that. Like, this is what I have a problem with, and A4 fucking leans into this shit all the time. It's like, is Avatar still a good movie? Yes. Then we should be talking about it as a good movie. We shouldn't be talking about it as lesser than other great like big movies.
Yeah.
No, dude, I saw Pocahontas once and I didn't need to see it again.
Look,
like,
I think the reason that
Pocahontas sucks, and it's
yeah,
not as
Blue
good of a movie as
Pocahontas.
Avatar.
It's the same story.
I think the
So
reason
does Ferngully, by the way.
John Smith goes to Pandora and he's like,
now Joe, I think
and then
Joe, I think the reason
I do think Dances with Wolves is better than Avatar.
Dances with Navi.
It's like it's about 10% better.
Now, Joe, I think the reason I keep comparing God of War Ragnarok to other stuff is because God of War Ragnarok is in this weird middle ground where it's trying to be a movie and a video game, whereas Elden Ring is a video game as video game, and it's way better for it. That's just me.
Well, the best example is,
and I'm just talking about two. I'm just talking about two of the games from last year's Game of the Year awards.
Yeah,
that were like basically in. Which was the crazy thing, because, and I said it before the show, but like God of War Ragnarok swept like almost every single fucking award in the Game Awards last year, and then Elden Ring just wins Game of the Year anyway because it's a game.
Because the Japanese cheat.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
There's more of them to vote. Sorry, guys.
If the Japanese cheat, then how come they let that kid up on stage and talk about his rabbi, Bill Clinton?
Don't you think that's crazy how famous that kid is now? Like, it's insane, but...
That kid's hilarious. I love that kid.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think Sekiro is still the best example of...
God of War Ragnarok, 8 out of 10. Hated it.
Yeah. All right, guys.
34 hours.
I gotta let the kid take his room back, so... Thank you guys for hanging out for this episode of Nude Clan. Till next time, live always in the nude.
Be better.
Walk with your cinematic, non-video game ass held high.
Ah, fuck off.
How about a nice game?